confused. You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's stuff.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Weaver. I am on the Don't Unfriend Me show, otherwise known as The Dumb Show, with host Matt Spear. You guys can find the show at The Dumb Show on social media or thedumbshow.com.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. My name is Matthew Spear. I am the host of Don't Unfriend Me. We already have the Dumb Show logo up, but the Matthew Spear one we don't because Olivia's not paying attention. They're very good. Thank you, honey. I appreciate it for putting it. Olivia, how are we doing tonight? Can you go ahead and introduce yourself with your intro video, please? Well, thank you, Olivia. The computer's not on. Something's wrong. Look behind me. Something's wrong.
Is it plugged in?
I don't know. You're going to have to find out and figure it out. So when you plugged it in, I don't think you snap it in far enough. So there's Olivia. She doesn't want to be seen on camera, folks. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show tonight. We're watching Tucker Carlson. That is going to be Donald Trump is live. Now, I need to preface some things. This is the Dumb Show. You can find us at dumbshow.com. And Olivia, as soon as you can, you're going to need to go ahead and push that button again because it's turning off. So you've got some technical difficulties to work with. Yeah. What's wrong?
It was unplugged.
And now, so it's charging is what you're telling me? Can you hit the Dumb Show button, please? Hold on, folks. All right, so do it again. Outstanding. Thank you. All right, so here's the deal. Is tonight, this is going to be an interesting one. Now we're going to listen. This is the first time we have heard Donald Trump since the indictment. And what's truly important here, and we all need to understand, is that if I play this straight out with absolutely no break, we'll get turned off. So we have about a 15-minute window where we need to say some things. So we're going to pause this. Now, I'm not a cable news channel, so you don't get to get upset. You can't sit here and go, oh, just play it and don't talk. That's not the way this works. It's a talk show. There will be some commentary. Olivia might have something to say. I might have something to say. But either way, we will play it in its entirety. But we do have to interrupt from time to time to go ahead and give it a pause. So with no further ado, let's get to this. Yes?
How do I pause the Twitter feed? It won't let me pause.
Just get out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, just get out of it. Just Twitter's. If you want to talk on Twitter, send me a tweet, or you can text message us at the phone number at the phone number 571-329-7576. So if you want to communicate and we're not on your channel, all you got to do is text me here, or you can call into the show, 571-329-7576. Also, last thing, if you want to get the Awake Not Woke hat or get the assault weapon shirt, man, it came out cool. Came out awesome. I'm so excited for it. If you want to get this shirt, you can over at thedumbshow.com. Folks, thanks for watching. Let's get to it. We have any comments that we want to jump into before?
I haven't even. I'm still trying to get
we don't
set
call her
up.
the best color commentary person in the business for nothing, folks. Let's get to it. And let's watch Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson. Let's see. Got to locate the file. Hold on. We're getting it. We changed. Last night we had lost all of our files, and we had to work a better part of the day getting everything back up. So bear with us. I'm looking for the flag video. There it is. All right. Awesome. Let's get to this. With no further ado, Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump. Yes, I know you can't hear it.
Studio for us are coming to you from a wet and windy Palm Beach, Florida, right outside, across the water, actually, from Mar-a-Lago. We spent the day there talking to former President Donald Trump. It was his first interview since he was arraigned in a Manhattan criminal court exactly 1 week ago. The Republican frontrunner for president arrested by a Democratic prosecutor on political grounds. Nothing like that has ever happened, and we wanted to hear from the man who experienced it. The conversation went in a lot of different directions, heavily on foreign policy. An amazing, really an amazing conversation. Here's how it began. Mr. President, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Last week you were in New York for this arraignment. The world watched it. You've not given an interview since. You were there, I think, 57 minutes. Tell us from your perspective what that was like.
Well, it was a horrible thing because I did nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. You look at even the pundits and the legal analysis, Greg Jarrett, all of these really talented people, they're saying he didn't do anything wrong. So that's number one. Number two, they were incredible. When I went to the courthouse, which is also a prison in a sense, they signed me in. And I'll tell you, people were crying. People that work there, professionally work there, that have no problems putting in murderers, and they see everybody. It's tough, tough place. And they were crying. They were actually crying. They said, I'm sorry. They'd say, 2024, sir, 2024. And tears are pouring down their eyes. I've never seen anything like those people are phenomenal. Those are your police.
Yep.
Those are the people that work at the courthouse. They're unbelievable people. Many of them.
This is the Donald Trump that needs to be seen, and this is who he needs to be. At what? They can't hear you when you shake your head. Yes.
I was saying yes.
You got to say yes because this isn't. We're not a mime group. You've got. You're
shaking
on
my
the
head
show
yes
for a
for you.
reason, Olivia Spear. Push the button. Go ahead with what you were going to say, please. Very interested in hearing it.
I just said yes. I agree.
Oh, well, that was pretty weak. Maybe you shouldn't have said anything.
Exactly.
Never mind.
Close to it. Many apologists were sorry, sir. We're sorry. They had to have me do certain things. They said, sir, I can't believe I have to ask you. I can't even believe that I have to ask you to do it. You could see. So in one sense, it was beautiful because they get it. In another sense, you know, it's nasty. I went to the Wharton School of Finance. They didn't teach me about that. That wasn't like
They
in
didn't
the
about
cards.
the arraignment part?
That wasn't. We didn't have a class on arraignment. And, you know, it was a sad day in many ways, and in many ways it was a beautiful day because the people understand. I didn't know this was happening, but the poll numbers have gone through the roof. The people get it, and the other ones are hoaxes also. You know, the box hoax. Look at Biden, he's got 1,850 boxes, and, you know, that's a hoax. And then the one in Atlanta where I had a perfect phone call. This is all weaponization. They're weaponizing our justice system, Tucker. And they think if they go and give you a subpoena, you know, I guess I'm very well known and people understand it and they get it, and maybe I have a bigger platform so I can explain it. But if you're somebody, a Republican, let's say, running for office, and you get a subpoena, you might as well resign because you're not going to be able to survive it. And the voters aren't going to handle it. The voters aren't going to take it. What they're doing is weaponizing the system, and there's never been anything like it. And it's all disinformation. You see, the other day, Afghanistan, one of the worst things I've ever seen. I think the most embarrassing moment that this country's ever had, frankly, the way we got out. Not the getting out. We had to get out. It was ridiculous to be there. And I had that so good, so tight, so tough. I spoke to the leader, Abdul. I said, Abdul, if you do anything, you're going to get hit really hard. Literally, he said, but sir, why? Why? He goes, why, oh, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you'll have to figure that one out, Abdul. But we didn't have one death in 18 months. He knew. Not one death. And then to see the way we got out, like we were surrendering, like taking the military out first, leaving $85 billion worth of.
Okay. See, this is probably one of the most annoying things is people are like, let's not interrupt the video. Go get cable. Stop being cheap. I'm not a cable provider. This is a talk show. If I don't provide commentary for at least 25% of this, they'll block the video and then nobody gets to see it. So what do you want me to do? Do you want me to interrupt it every 5 or 10 minutes and make a comment on a talk show? Or do you want a cable news provider? If you want a cable news provider, go stop being cheap and pay for it. This is me paying for this. I'm paying so you can watch this. Show a little respect and try to understand why it gets interrupted once in a while. It's just a really irritating thing. I don't have to do this. I don't. I do this for you. I've already lost one channel for broadcasting Donald Trump. My YouTube channel was blacked out, gone, 86th, banned because I broadcasted Donald Trump. So I think I know what needs to happen in order to continue to broadcast. So please just do me a favor. Either show up on time so you understand why I do this, so I don't have to keep explaining it, because it just makes it longer. But every time you do that, then another person says, yeah, don't interrupt. And then the whole thing comes into a don't interrupt it seance / forum. Let's just do this and watch it and realize that every 5-10 minutes, you're going to get an interruption. And if you don't like it, like I say, go pay for your own cable. Pretty simple. Thanks.
Giving up Bagram, I was going to keep Bagram. I was getting out, but not for Afghanistan. It's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. It's one of the biggest Air Force bases in the world, I think the biggest, with runways that go 10,000 feet. I was keeping that because of China, not because of Afghanistan.
Right.
And they left everything. They left in the dark of night. They left the lights on. They left the dogs, by the way. You know, the people say about the dogs. They left the dogs. Everyone, you know, the dog lovers, and you got a lot of them. I love dogs. You love dogs. But they left the dogs. People said, what? One of the first questions I got, what did they do with the dogs? Mostly German Shepherds. They left them. What they did, the way they got out, was so horrible. Okay, everybody knows that was their plan. That had nothing to do with me. I was getting out, too. We would have gotten out with strength and dignity. And what happened? They got out.
So Bagram Air Base, right? So one of the most expensive investments we made in Afghanistan strategically was right out of Kabul, about 30 minutes away from Kabul airport. It was a staging ground for multiple terrorist attacks outside of Bagram Air Base. It was very well fortified, very well defended. Very much like the Top Gun base, I guess, if you want to say, in the new Top Gun movie, where they've got to, you know, go up and do a vertical and 15 loops. It was surrounded by Iron Mountain, one entryway, one egress point. I mean, it was a very defendable base, and one that we should have maintained. And just abandoning it, if for the very least 30 days later doing the exfil of all the NGOs, the non-government officials, and the U.S. Americans that were stationed and they're working in Afghanistan and country, would have been a place that they could have heloed from point A to point B and done a staged egress based upon severity of who was in country and who had the highest clearance, who knew the most information, who was the most important to get back. And they had plenty of time to do this, but instead they shut down Bagram. They left in the dead of night, like he said. They abandoned it. They knew that the Afghan army was surrendering in Tajikistan and the northern and southern areas of Afghanistan and just laying down arms at one moment of resistance. They knew that the Taliban were going to take over, and they knew that all of the weapon systems that they had, which they supposedly said they destroyed, and then now a year later say, oh, well, wait a second. We didn't destroy any of those because we knew they were going to the Afghan army. So of course we wouldn't destroy them. So which one is it? This whole thing is crap. He's absolutely right. Donald puts his spin on it. And let's not forget the 13 American lives lost because we released a terrorist who went ahead and attacked based upon that was at Bagram, that was under lock and key, who perpetrated the attack against the 13 Americans who died and the servicemen, while we allowed the Taliban, of all people, to go ahead and run security for the exfil. Oh, no, that's not a screw up. And remember, that's Donald Trump's fault, and because that's what the new report says. I just laid it out for you in 10 seconds. What's up?
Would you like to address Ken Shaper's comment?
What did Ken say?
Thought you hated Trump passionately. That's what you said. Now kiss his ass. Would you like me to respond to that?
Yeah, you can respond to Ken. So you do my light work. You know what? I'm gonna let the wife do it because I Ken, you don't deserve an answer. Go ahead, sweetie. Do my light work for me.
My God. Since when is streaming an interview kissing someone's ass? Did he kiss Biden's ass when he has streamed the
State of the Union.
The State of the Union 2 years in a row.
And when have I ever said I hated Trump? When the hell did this happen?
Exactly. Just because he disagreed with some of the things he'd been doing, especially with the election's been stolen crap. I mean, just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean you hate them. And just because you agree with someone doesn't mean you're kissing their ass. So,
unless it's my wife, because that's a hobby that I particularly enjoy.
Me too.
Here we go.
They got out. And the other day I hear, yeah, it was Trump's fault. Oh, that's right. It was Trump. I was gone for a long. I would have been out faster than them. We would have had all the equipment. We would have had the American citizens. We left hostages. We left Americans behind. Many, I think many more than you think. And we had
800 and some odd
killed. And nobody ever mentions the fact that we had many maimed so badly. No arms, no legs, their face was obliterated. This is the way this guy got out. We would have gotten out with dignity and strength. We were going to. But I was taking 100% of, I said, I want every nail, I want every screw. I want the tents. They said, sir, the tents are very hard to take out. I said, I want the tents.
I want the
the
tents.
tanks. I want the planes. I want everything. And a couple of them fought me on it, like Millie. He said, sir.
Hey, Ken, you just got bitch slapped by a woman. How does that feel? Just want to let you know. It's kind of funny. It's nice. I just get to sit back now. I was told I need to lighten up and not be so hard on people. I'm just going to sick my wife on you. It's so much easier letting her defend me. I don't have to fight my own fights anymore. Honey, I've got someone picking on me. Do you have a few seconds?
He said, sir, I think it's cheaper to leave the equipment behind. I said, let me ask you, we have a plane that cost $100 million. It's sitting there. All it needs is a tank of gas, right?
Thanks,
Give
Chuck.
me a little jet fuel. We'll fly it to Pakistan or any place else, or we'll fly it directly home. You say it's cheaper to leave a $100 million plane? Sir, I think overall it's cheaper. These are idiots we're dealing with. They left $85 billion worth of equipment. They left our American citizens behind. And they moved the military out first. No, you move the military out last. I did a little skit with a 5-year-old kid. I said, let me ask you, here's the situation. I explained the situation. I said,
See, this is where Trump is brilliant, is he's literally comparing Biden to a 5-year-old kid. And he's saying, I've got a 5-year-old who understands foreign policy better than you do. I mean, this is what he's good at, right? It's like, this is when he shines. And I gotta give Tucker credit. Tucker's just shutting up and letting him go, because that's what you need to do. You just need to let Trump be Trump. And if you give him a podium and you give him a chance, this is where he shines. I think, honestly, when he lost the election, he lost his mojo. I mean, he was like Austin Powers in number 2 or 3, whatever it was, where he lost his mojo. And now that he's back in the swing and he's running, he's got his mojo back. I mean, he just seems to be better. I mean, the last 3 times I've seen him live, I've got to admit, the last 2.5 years, I think he's been horrible. The last 3 times I've seen him, he's better. I mean, do you feel?
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Holy shit, that's loud.
It was number 3, by the way.
That's number 3 what?
Austin Powers.
Whatever. Got my mojo working. Whatever. But I like him when he's like this.
take the military out first, or would you take it out last? I take it out last. 5-year-old.
Hey, tell him to keep it down, please.
They took the military out first, and they were afraid of our military. When I was there, they were afraid. We didn't have one soldier killed in 18 months, Tucker. Not one soldier was killed in 18 months. And then we got out like we surrendered. I think it was the single most embarrassing day in the history of our country. It was totally their fault. They didn't go by anything because, you know, we had a system of getting out. But if the Taliban, in particular, the Taliban, because that's where the action was.
Just text it.
When I called Abdul, the press went crazy. The fake news went crazy. Why did he call an enemy? I said, well, it's Jesse James. I used to ask him, why did he rob banks? He said, that's where the money is. Why did I call the head of the Taliban? Because that's where the killing was.
Mr. Trump, I don't need to go ahead and correct you, sir, because you are far more successful than I, but it was Willie Brown who said that. I don't believe it was Jesse James. Another famous bank robber, but Willie Brown is the one I think they asked him where the money is. I use that quote often. That's how I know. But, sir, you're right. Never mind. I apologize.
Abdul, I'm sure he likes me. Call me Your Excellency. I don't know if he calls Biden Your Excellency. Probably. I mean, you know, they're one of the largest arms dealers now in the world. They're selling the $85 billion worth of it because they only need 5% of it.
Of course.
They're selling the equipment. They're one of the largest, I think, second arms dealers. Brand new helicopters, brand new airplanes, brand new tanks. Unbelievable what we left behind. We ran, and there was no reason to. I had them. I could have stayed there for 5 years if I wanted to. I wanted out. 21 years was enough. I wanted out. We shouldn't have been there in the first place. But when I see what happens, when I see the level of stupidity, and because of that, it's all a big web. Because of that, I think Putin.
That Austin Powers one's a little loud. Can you play another one that's a little faster so I can test it, please?
Respect my authority!
Check your volume out. So do you have a volume out? Okay, I'll fix it later. But just yeah, it's a little loud. Just check your volume on your overall, like go into the settings in that program and see what you can find. Just do me a favor, go to settings in that program.
Because of that, I think Putin, who would have never gone into Ukraine when I was there, would have never. I talked to him about it often. would have never, ever done that. When he saw that I wasn't there and he saw these fools, these stupid people, and think of that, the way they left Afghanistan and nobody was fired. I fired a lot of people because if they didn't do a good job, I'd fire them.
May I ask, you talked to Putin about Ukraine. What did you say to him?
I could see that he loved it. And I said...
he loved Ukraine.
He considers it to be a part of Russia.
Yeah.
I said, not when I'm president. We had a very good relationship.
Just keep
He
doing it.
was... I mean, look, I was the worst thing that ever happened to him. I closed up his pipeline. You never heard the words Nord Stream 2 until I came along. Nord Stream 2 was their pipeline. And I had a great relationship with him, but it was very tough because they had a fake Russia investigation. And I told him, and he told me, he said, it's very hard for us to deal, don't you think? I said, very hard, because we have a fake investigation that turned out to be a fake. For 2 years it went on. And we could have done very well with Russia. They have great minerals. They have great things that we want, we could have, and they need the money and they need other things. But that interfered. That was a terrible thing. That was actually...
Just FYI, folks, if you look down below here in the feed, you can see that comments are coming up that you guys are writing. I'm trying to introduce these into the show. I read every comment that's put up, even the idiots. So if you want to go ahead and leave something or insult me, please do. I always appreciate a good insult. It just lets me know that you're triggered and I'm getting in your head rent free. I love that stuff. So please boost my ego. Also, spam the like and the heart button. I mean, this is the least you can do. You're not having to pay for Fox News tonight. Come on.
To do. Those people should have been arrested. They made it up. They made up a problem with Russia that didn't exist. Now they've all admitted it didn't exist. It was just on to the next one. I often say, they said to me the other day, one of your fellow journalists said, who's the biggest problem, sir? Is it China? Could it be Russia? Could it be North Korea? No, I said, the biggest problem is from within. It's these sick, radical people from within, because we can handle, if we're smart, we can handle Russia, China. I did. I took in billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No other president took in anything, and they respected me. He's the same thing, you know. I told him, you can't go into Taiwan. You can't do it. I won't tell you exactly what I said, but it was something that probably a lot of people wouldn't like if they heard it, but it was very tough. Don't go into Taiwan. If you do, we're gonna have problems. Other than that, we're gonna be great relationship. We're going to have a great relationship. And he said to me when I said we're going to do something, if he goes in, no, you wouldn't do it. I'll do that. I swear I'll do that. And he didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. The same thing with Putin. I said I was going to do something really nasty if he goes into Ukraine. He said, no, you're not going to do that. I said, I will. And he didn't believe me either, but he believed me 10%. And the 10%, you never heard talk about going into Ukraine. You never heard talk about going into Taiwan until I was no longer there. Now, what a mess the world is in. What a mess.
We traveled to Mar-a-Lago today to interview the former president on his recent arrest by a Democratic prosecutor. But once we sat down, we wound up talking mostly about foreign policy. For a man who is caricatured as an extremist, we think you'll find what he has to say moderate, sensible, and wise. When we come back, Donald Trump's greatest fear for America, something we almost never talk about. We'll be right back.
Let's take a journey.
Hold on.
That's made with...
That's a pretty...
Actually, we're here to
learn what the...
Covering the weather beat here in windy Palm Beach. Actually, we're here to interview the former president and now the Republican frontrunner, Donald Trump. While the rest of us have spent the last 2.5 years arguing about systemic racism and trans rights and other ephemera, other imaginary things, America's position globally has eroded so fast it defies belief. But Donald Trump has noticed things have really changed since he left office, and that's the topic of this next part of the conversation. Here it is. You said at the time when you were president that going to war with Russia, either hot war or cold war, would drive Russia into an alliance with China.
I did.
That would displace us as the most powerful nation.
I did. But we have a bigger problem. The bigger problem is the weaponry. The weaponry today is so powerful. This isn't like Second World War where we have army tanks running around shooting each other. This is weapons the likes of which the world has never seen before. And they have them and we have them. And China has them less, but within 5 years, China will have equal to us. China, I'm talking about nuclear. China has the beginnings of a very big, very powerful nuclear. They're short 5 years. They had started much later. Russia and us are comparable. Massive power, massive. And that's one of the things.
More than people understand, do you
More than
think?
people understand, yeah. Yeah, more.
Were
And
you
they don't
surprised?
understand the power. If you look at Hiroshima, as some people
Yeah.
call it, if you look at Nagasaki, you look at those two events took place many, many years ago, and multiply that power times 500. That's what you're talking about.
This is nothing new. I want to be very careful here. Russia, their state of their nuclear arms are not even remotely comparable to the United States. What he's saying is, when you look at Hiroshima, or Hiroshima, as some people call it, you're talking about an atomic bomb versus a hydrogen bomb. They're night and day, right? So you're talking about the power and the overall explosive radius, the amount of radiation, the amount of heat, the amount of energy dispersed from a hydrogen bomb versus atomic bomb are two different things. So what he's saying is the overall, the scale of what could be released by Russia. But understand, they have not upgraded their nuclear silos. They have not upgraded their submarines. Russia is a very poor country, comparable, because still to this day has been in a Vietnam for the last 40 years. And they have a new Vietnam in Ukraine. They were also in a Cold War with the United States. And I want you to think what Germany and Japan did for us in World War II. And because we were such a massive producer of textiles, plastics, we were able to build weaponry at an incredible rate, which was lucrative for us. But fighting two wars on two fronts really taxed the United States and was going to. That's why we didn't go into Russia right after we were done with Japan. And we dropped the nukes on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So we knew at that point that we had to pull away from the table, even though we recognized Russia was going to be our next enemy, and MacArthur and Patton both wanted to go in. Here's the thing, is that Russia is really a Band-Aid and, bubble gum and Rust-Oleum paint on their weaponry, and they really are behind us when it comes to this. Now, I'm not saying they don't have nuclear weapons. I'm not saying they couldn't do a massive amount of damage to the United States, but to say that they're comparable from disbursement and delivering that weaponry would be a travesty to say so. So I don't believe that's what he's saying. So just listen to him very carefully.
That's what you're talking about. Where it actually melted the granite. Granite is unmeltable by blowtorches.
Yes.
But the granite, if you look at granite areas, it's like water that got, hardened like an ice skating rink. It melted the granite. If you look at that and multiply it times 500, that's what you're talking about. When I listen to people talk about global warming, that the ocean will rise in the next 300 years by 1/8 of an inch, and they talk about this is our problem. Our big problem is nuclear warming, and nobody even talks about it. The environmentalists talk about all this nonsense in many cases. Look, I'm an environmentalist also, I guess, in my own way, because I've done a good job with the environment. But
215.
Nobody talks about nuclear. The problem we have, the biggest problem we have in the whole world, it's not global warming, it's nuclear warming. And all it takes is one madman, and you're going to have a problem the likes of which the world has never seen. And it's only a matter of seconds. You don't have to wait 200 to 300 years for it to happen.
So what you're saying is demonstrably true. Why is this not something our leaders talk about?
People don't understand how big Donald Trump actually is. And I've had a chance to see him from about, 30 yards away when he knelt down and consoled a friend of mine and at Andrews. And, he's a big man. He's not small. And I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", 225, and I'm a pretty big guy. Most people look pretty small next to me. But if you look real quick, and I know, once again, we got to break once in a while because we'll get hit with copyright. But if you look right here with him sitting next to Tucker, Tucker's huge, man. I forgot how big Tucker Carlson is. He's massive. Look at Tucker Carlson here. I mean, it's incredible. By the way, folks, we're on Rumble. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We are on Facebook. And you can find us. You can chat on any of those, and we will see you. YouTube's usually gets piped through here from me. I'll do my best to keep sharing comments, and we have our phone lines open. You can stay with us afterwards and ask questions or anything else. Let's watch the rest, and we should have them sitting next to each other. It's pretty incredible.
Seconds. You don't have to wait 200 to 300 years for it to happen.
So what you're saying is demonstrably true. Why is this not something our leaders talk about or the press talks about?
Because I don't think they're smart. I don't think they get it. Putin got it. I would talk to him about it all the time. I never mentioned the word nuclear. You never heard me mention the word. You know, my uncle was a professor, a great professor at MIT for a long time. I think he was the longest, Dr. John Trump. And he would talk about a lot of different things, and it was very interesting to me for years. I talked to him, passed away. He's a great, great gentleman. I think it's the longest tenured professor in the history of MIT, but if he wasn't, he was very close, because he was there for almost 40 years. And we talk about things, and he said, you know, someday they'll have a suitcase, and in that suitcase, it'll be nuclear, and you'll blow up New York City out of a suitcase.
Sorry, I got one comment. Keith Kohler says, Russia has nuclear-powered hypersonic missiles. They've launched the one in Ukraine, and the thing blew a 200-foot hole in the ground. They didn't use a nuclear weapon on Ukrainian soil. That's not true. Number two, the hypersonic missile can be retrofitted with a nuclear missile or a nuclear device, and it can deliver a payload. But there is a very large question of how many hypersonic missiles Russia has right now. They are not using them extensively in the Ukrainian war because they're extremely expensive. They were used as a flag of power. And honestly, there is no difference between a hypersonic missile and a missile that can go Mach 4 or Mach 5 versus speed. Yes, hypersonic is extremely fast. Yes, it can encroach upon speeds of Mach 10. Its delivery is extremely quick. But a missile is a missile is a missile. And just because it delivers at a faster rate doesn't make them any more powerful than what they already are, because the intent has to be to use a nuclear weapon, and the speed it's delivered makes no difference. So most intelligence people like myself, not intelligent people, people who worked military intelligence or for the alphabet agencies or worked with, you know, understanding military technology, the hypersonic missile isn't necessarily the advancement we should worry about. In the scheme of things, we should worry about Russia's capability of delivering a missile in any way, shape, or form if their intent is to do so. That is the fear, not the speed in which it's delivered.
Oh, Uncle John, that can't possibly. He's right. The power is so incredible. You can fire up a submarine and run it for years on essentially a tablet. Run it for years. So when we talk about war, and when I watch all of the people talking about Ukraine and how's Ukraine doing, blah, blah, blah. Russia's sitting back. First of all, Ukraine's being obliterated.
Yes.
Okay, let's not even talk nuclear.
Correct.
But let's say it wasn't. Let's say they were doing better than anticipated. If he decided to use his second form of destruction, which is nuclear, that's the end of that.
Yep.
You understand? And I know where you are in Ukraine, so I mean, you understand it better than most. Most people don't. Most people don't even talk about it. They don't talk about the fact that he has equal to the United States in nuclear capability.
Actually, Russia has more nukes than the United States does, if you want to be completely honest. Delivery is the issue. Having more nukes, listen, in order to end the United States, 20 nuclear weapons need to land in the United States. 20 at most. And I'm not going to go into specifics, but if they release 20 nukes that hit targets above targets like they're supposed to, they will take out the command and control of the United States fairly effectively. And this would be multiple showering events over 20 main targets. And it's not just 20 intercontinental ballistic missiles that they would need to deliver. They would need to hit 20 targets with showering multiple missiles upon them. They have enough to destroy the world over several times in the U.S. arsenal and the Russian arsenal. Let's not kid ourselves. Nothing's changed. This has been going on since the Cold War. This has been going on since the Cuban Missile Crisis. The technology, however, it has changed. And it's changed predominantly because of deterioration over time with the maintenance of these missiles, the quality of the silos, and the quality of the delivery systems. And even the containers that some of these weapons are housed in are extremely outdated. And that is one of the things that Donald Trump focused on. And although he did a fairly extensive overhaul of the nuclear deterrence that we're in possession of, it still isn't enough. And he's right about that. That we need to put $1 trillion into our nuclear arsenal in order to make it standardized and as up to date as it needs to be. But because China's behind and because Russia is deteriorating and the money is going on wars and fighting in Ukraine and then fighting, essentially in Afghanistan, Vietnam, and a Cold War with the United States, and having low crop yields and having horrible irrigation with free-flowing water because of the ice forms are not as prominent as they have been in the past in Russia. So their fresh water is in limited supply, which is one of the reasons why they want to go in Ukraine. Russia is struggling financially, and they don't have the money, the capital to do that. And they certainly don't have it when they're running a 300,000 person stacked border war with Ukraine. So we have time. But Donald Trump's whole thing is I got us kind of a little bit above, few years above, and now we need to go ahead and double down, and we need to put more money into this because it's the right thing to do, because China is going to surpass our capabilities, and we can't have that. We have to be the strongest nuclear power in the world. It is our one deterrent, except for 3,000 miles of ocean on our left and right, an icy tundra to the north, and a horrible, desolate desert to the south. We are protected by geographical superiority, and we always have been. That's great. But technology is changing. And if China gets Taiwan, they get Australia. And if they get Australia, they get the Philippines. And if they get the Philippines, they get the Indonesian islands. If they get Indonesia, they get Diego Garcia. And if they get that, then they have the entire Indian Ocean. They have the Sea of Japan, and they have Hawaii next. And you can stage a military assault on our coast by taking out those areas. Strategic distance is one of the biggest advantages the United States have. So if you want to stop conventional warfare, you have to get nuclear warfare through the roof. You have got to get our deterrent built up, and then the conventional warfare won't matter. That's what Donald Trump's trying to say, if that makes sense.
Capability and destruction. And so I watch all of this happening, and it's so sad.
But can I just ask you,
All right. Skip says the commentator was not entirely correct. The problem with the hypersonic missiles there is concerned our Patriot system and other capabilities are not able to intercept. Our Patriot systems have not been proven effective in any way, shape, or form against an ICBM. There's never been a successful test of any of our intercept missiles hitting a nuclear or an intercontinental ballistic missile coming in from space to apogee back into re-atmosphere. It's never happened before. So you not only are you absolutely incorrect about me being incorrect, you don't know what you're talking about. So our Patriot system does not intercept intercontinental ballistic missiles. This is why the Star Wars system has been extremely unsuccessful. Iron Dome is probably one of the most successful, but a surface-to-air missile intercepting makeshift modeled frickin' rockets are a hell of a lot different than hitting something that's going Mach 4, Mach 5, or re-entry that's going a speed that we can't even fathom. So you're wrong. But thank you for saying that I'm wrong when I'm right.
Biden people know the power of nuclear weapons. They now.
Mike, back me up on that, please. Get another intel guy in here.
They don't seem worried about this.
That's because they don't understand life. They don't understand whatever it is that you have to understand. You know, it's very interesting. At the very beginning, Biden was very afraid of nuclear because I watched him and he was, oh, they have nuclear weapons. Oh, which was exactly the wrong signal to send. You don't do that. But if you go back and check your files, you'll see Biden early on saying, oh, well, we can't do this. They have nuclear weapons. Well,
one more point, and that's the reason why Donald Trump brought in Space Force. Space Force wasn't about little orange men or going to Mars. Okay? Space Force was about creating and extending Ronald Reagan's plan for Star Wars, which was a pipe dream and the technology wasn't there. We have the capability to intercept high speed or hypersonic missiles. The point is we don't have any practical application of that. Listen, you've seen Elon Musk send up 2 boosters and have them come back down and land where they used to splash in the water, and reverse land with thrusters and stabilizers and computer calculate any variable whatsoever, from crosswinds to a change in navigation to being off course to not being computer generated in a plan, but in real time landing. We can intercept a missile. The point is the money needs to be put into it. And what we're doing is we're saying, well, a lot of this technology is older, or, intercontinental ballistic missiles aren't going to be used because nobody's going to use tactical nukes. We are hopelessly naive if we believe that there's not somebody on this planet who has the desire to use a nuclear weapon against the United States of America. This has been so for a long time. And you can go all the way back to 1947. You can go back to an A-4 Skyhawk in Jerusalem. You can go back to dirty bombs that have been intercepted over the northern border. There's a lot of things you can look at and say this has been a dirty nuke is something that people have wanted to buy for a long time on the open market, and it is one of the things that we look for from the NEST teams, from our ability to use satellites to track nuclear technology, to pick up rads in certain blooms and understand if something's being transported. It's probably one of the most defensive things we do, but we need to think about offense too. We can't just think about deterrence and defense. We've got to think about the future, that we have to be able to exchange the same amount of missiles that any other country can to ensure that they don't launch theirs. And that is the one assured destruction that has kept us safe since the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Nuclear weapons. Well, you don't want to. You don't want to act that way.
Yeah.
But he was very afraid of nuclear. I said, you got to be a little bit cooler than that. But what happened is now that nobody talks about it.
I know we're interrupting, but this is why we do a talk show. Leroy said it best. The problem is trajectory. High arcing systems are seen on radar. Hypers don't work that way. Leroy, I'm surprised you said that. I wasn't going to get into specifics, but I'll leave that to you if you're going to say it. But there's a lot of things that that make it theoretically impossible at this point with our technology to hit accurately. Here's one of them. Surprisingly enough, unless you can hit that with force or have a collision, most explosions will be outpaced by the speed of the missile, which is incredible. I want you to think about that. Go in Mach 10, and I want you to think about how fast that is. And a lot of that will obviously move past the speed of sound and the initial shockwave from a blast, but the actual explosion itself is how do you go ahead and anticipate that explosion and with enough force to deter something that's going that fast. I mean, it's just the physics behind this. I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn Express, so I can't tell you, but what I'm telling you is the Patriot system is horribly inadequate for what you're describing, and it's impossible to do at this point.
Every day other people mention it, and now all of a sudden, if you look, other countries are talking about getting it. This was something you don't mention. I call it the N word. You have 2 N words. You don't mention either one of them. The nuclear word you don't mention because the power is so destructive. I met with professors at MIT, and I was...
Trevino, who has a beautiful locket and a brooch, which is interesting. Trevino. They didn't have a bra or something for you? He says, not even 1K people here. Bye. Yeah, Ben Shapiro had 436 on today. I've got half that, so blow me.
It's not an airport. You do not need to announce your departure. Just leave.
Just leave. You don't need to go Trevino.
I don't care.
I have a feeling that your brooch-wearing ass wouldn't have been happy if I would have been at 1,000. Because when I was at 10, you people made fun of me. When I was at 100 followers, you guys made fun of me. When I was at 1,000 followers, you made fun of me. When I was at 10,000 followers, you made fun of me. I'm at 100,000 followers, you make fun of me. And I'm at 150,000 followers, you make fun of me. I'm at 250,000 in my entire network, 250,000 people, and 3.5 million people interacted with my site in the last 30 days. Nothing will fucking prove to you people because you're losers, because you don't have nothing for yourself except your grandma's brooch. Very masculine, bro.
For a debate, I wouldn't say it was a long preparation, but I did want to talk about nuclear because I consider it to be the single greatest threat the world has, far greater than global warming, like not even a contest. And I had these people come down that were very smart, very expert, and I said, so when we start talking about nuclear in a debate, how would you handle it? And they looked at me, one in particular, and said, sir, you can't talk about it. You cannot talk about it. I said, what does that mean? He said, it is so massive, it is so destructive that you cannot talk about it. I understood exactly what he meant. And we stayed away from it for the most part. But now, Putin's mentioning it all the time. We don't mention it, but Putin's always mentioning it. You've heard him say it. We are a nuclear power. He said not so long ago, I said, that's the first time I've heard a major country. You know, you do hear it talked about, and I did a good job. I did a great job with North Korea. Kim Jong-un, you went with me on a trip. You insulted him, which didn't make my life too easy, but that's okay. But you were there, one of the few. And it was an amazing, it had to be one of the most incredible experiences for you.
For sure.
But it was amazing.
Mel, the W stands for winner, obviously. That's what it stands for.
We had thousands of reporters. They weren't treated particularly nicely either, by the way, but I got along great with him. And because of that, it started rough, remember, with, you know, Rocket Man, Little Rocket Man? And he said, I have a button on my desk.
Tucker looks so funny.
A red button. I said, I have a red button on my desk, too. Mine's bigger and mine works. Yours doesn't. And this went on for a couple of months. And then all of a sudden, the log jam was broken, and he wanted to meet. And we did meet. And we get along great. To this day, we get along great. He won't talk to Biden. He won't even talk to these people. He won't even talk to them. He has no respect for him. He's a man. If he respects you, he'll respect you. He wouldn't talk to Obama. Obama tried to get meetings with him. He wouldn't meet with him. He met with me. I met with him twice. I would have had a deal worked out with him. He's got tremendous nuclear capability. It's the single biggest problem. Maybe this show's more important than even I thought it might be, because somebody's got to understand what has to happen, and they have to de-escalate.
So how would you do that now?
Well, now, so you have a problem. You got this crazy world is blowing up, and the United States has absolutely no say, and Macron, who's a friend of mine, is over with China, kissing his ass, okay, in China. I said, France is now going to China.
Yep.
You take a look at Saudi Arabia. Look at what happened. They're great people. They wanted to help us. He goes over and gets a fist pump. You know what a fist pump means? Don't shake my hand because your hand's dirty. That's what a fist bump is.
That's exactly what it means.
They were so.
See, it's in the Indian culture too, but in the Middle Eastern culture, it's not necessarily a sign of respect. It's almost a sign of disrespect. I mean, they are royalty, and whether you believe that or not, or believe into that type of thing, I certainly don't. But there is a proper way. You don't show the bottom of your foot in Japan. It's disrespectful to the Japanese people. There's cultures that have different norms than us, and fist bumping a Saud prince is it would be like someone walking up and the Queen of England going up to Joe Biden and be like, high five, give me some skin. It's not necessarily appropriate. It's stupid. And you know, whatever. It's just something to think about. Now, everyone keeps talking about foreign currency. And if you want to, we can stick a pin in it, Liv, and write it down so we talk about it. But everyone's worried about this coalition, South Africa, China, Iran, Korea, whatever, joining the currency. Okay, we can please stop. Okay, that is not going to put a dimple on the U.S. economy and certainly the valuation of the dollar. We'll talk about it. Let's not worry about it. Hopefully Donald Trump talks about it. We'll see in a minute. And all the haters, keep it. I love this. I love your hate. It makes me feel complete. So any shortcomings that I have or insecurities, your hate, it makes me feel good that I'm bothering you so much that you have to melt down and throw a temper tantrum live. Please do it. I love it. Don't stop. Give me more.
They were so insulted. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to shake your hand. Let's go fist pump.
I have to forward through the commercials because I'm not getting paid for it, so I'm not putting anybody's commercials on here.
Very affordable, very clean.
Republican frontrunner last week in an effort to keep him from running for president. Will it work? We asked Donald Trump directly. And does he think Joe Biden will actually run? Here's that conversation. Do you think Biden will stay in the race?
Look,
Great answer.
I watch
can
him
already
just
tell.
like you do. And I think it's almost inappropriate for me to say it. But I deal with other people. I don't see how it's possible. And it's not an age thing. You know, they like to say, I have friends that are 88, 89, 92. Bernie Marcus, Home Depot, is 95. Smart as hell. He's sharp as he was. I mean, he's, you know, mentally, Bernie Marcus, Home Depot, founder of Home Depot, one of the founders. I mean, I had a meeting with him a few months ago. He was 100%. I know people that built their fortunes from 80 to 90. They were always struggling, and they made a fortune from 80 to 90. A couple of people in particular. It's amazing. He's not too old. You know, his age. I think they do the age thing because I'm 4 or 5 years behind. They say this is a way of getting Trump. Let's go up. But there's something wrong. I saw his answer today on television about whether or not he was going to run, to a very nice guy named Al Roker. I mean, you can't get a softer question than that. That was a long answer, talking about the eggs and the this and that. Look, I don't think he can. But say what you want. They didn't expect him to get it.
Yeah.
You know, people could say he won an election. You know, it always goes, I got the most votes of any person, any sitting president in history. I was told if I got 15 million less, I couldn't lose. They're surrounded by vicious, smart people, radical left people, but they're very smart and they're very vicious. It's not him. It's not him. He's now in Ireland. He's not going to have a news conference. When the world is exploding, I own property in Ireland. I'm not going to Ireland. The world is exploding around us. You could end up in a third world war, and this guy's going to be in Ireland and not having a news conference. He hasn't had a news conference, I guess, in months. I saw today where he hasn't. It's been.
Well, he can't. So if he doesn't run, if he's taken out by his own party, or who knows what happens, but it doesn't seem like he's capable of running again, who does run?
Well, obviously the one that they would talk about would be the vice president, Kamala. That would be the one that they talk about.
Hey, Leroy, why don't you come on and tell us how we should deal with a troll, since you're the expert? So, you know, this is now, I don't know, I got a strange feeling. So you should come on after the show so you and I can air this out together, because I think you have an opinion, but passive aggressively isn't going to fix the problem. So if you think that there's a way we should treat trolls who call people Nazis, who call people fascists, who call them white supremacists and maggots, please let me know what we should do. Because I don't believe that those people deserve our considerations. But as a host of this show, I think you should come on and have a conversation with me about it, because you obviously have a feeling about it.
What did I miss?
Nothing.
Okay.
But I don't think she's performed well on the big stage. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. But there are a certain group of people that will go crazy if it's not her. They're going to be very angry if it's not her. That's a problem. You have a very ambitious guy in California, but he's done a terrible job with the state. I used to get along great with him, you know, when I was president. I got along really good, Gavin.
Well, you got along with Gavin Newsom?
I did. I really did. He was always very nice to me. He said the greatest things.
He did. Gavin Newsom said great things about, well, not great things, but he gave Trump credit when he sent the U.S. Navy hospital ship into California. You know, and Gavin Newsom came on and said some nice things. Cuomo did too. You know, during COVID, Trump actually had a very high rating, a 72% approval rating in the first 3 months of COVID. He was on air all day, 3 hours every single day, even on the weekend, sometimes not playing golf or not in Delaware. To say that Gavin Newsom is a vindictive jerk, he's not. And Gavin Newsom looks like he's running for president right now. If anyone hasn't told, he's going around the country, going into red states and dropping bombs all over the place. He's saying he's not running, but he's highly effective. He's campaigning. He's running for maybe a VP position to take for Kamala, and that sets him up for an amazing 2028 run against Ron DeSantis or whoever it may be. So if you're playing a long game as a Democrat, sticking Gavin Newsom on the ticket gives an amazing bump to Joe Biden, no matter how much of a failure he is. People don't care. He looks like a Kennedy, and that's what they love. Americans don't give a crap about his results. They want to make sure he looks good in bed. That's what most people vote on. It's like a lot of people have sports teams and they like the uniform. Gavin Newsom is, he's got the polish. He's got that Kennedy look. It doesn't matter that his policies suck. Nobody cares. Nancy Pelosi had the worst district ever. She drove San Francisco into the frickin' ground, and look at her. She's raised how many hundreds of millions of dollars for the Democratic Party? People don't care about that. They care about what you can give them. Money, power, votes, period. Gavin Newsom's running for VP. It really looks like it. He's saying, I'm not running for president, but he's not saying anything about not running for VP.
He's doing a great job. Oh, he was very
About
nice.
you?
About me. That's why I could never hit him, because he was so nice to me. He's just laying in wait, right? But I could, he was very nice to me. And relatively speaking, some of them weren't. We did a good job for the governors. But they talk about him. They talk about some others. I just don't see Biden doing it from a physical or a mental standpoint.
Yes.
I don't see it. But it's been a crazy period of time in the world of politics. But he's surrounded by people. They expected Bernie to win. Now, Bernie's older than Biden, whether you like him or not. He's sharp. I watched him being interviewed the other day. He's 100% sharp. He hasn't lost much, if anything, Bernie Sanders. But, he's older. So it's not an age thing. I just don't see him.
So they're trying to prevent you from making it to the general election by tying you up in lawsuits, charging you with crimes. You've described the process.
It's the old Soviet process.
The old Soviet process. And you've described it as illegitimate. If this goes to trial and you get convicted, how would you respond in the middle of a presidential campaign?
Well,
how would
it's
you
so off. Statute of limitations are years off. It's hard to believe. Usually when you have something like this, the Democrats say, oh, he's terrible, guilty. The Democrats have even said, I'm innocent. I watched some of these, I think it was Andrew McCabe, the FBI guy who I fired. He came out, he said, they've got no case.
I just want to welcome the 400 some odd people who are watching. It's really nice to see this many people on. Rumble is feeding over 100, which is great to hear that Rumble's growing. So thanks, folks. It's humbling to hear all the rumbling. Rim shot?
Wait.
You don't have a rim shot for me?
I'm not on it. There we go.
Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Thanks, honey.
And then you've had Andrew McCarthy, you've had Jonathan Turley, Greg Jarrett, Dershowitz, all of them, everybody and they're, down the middle people. They see it. They say, there's no crime. There's no anything. Think of it, Tucker. I've been through 7 years of bull investigations. 7 years.
You guys, Al-Qasaya Rahad Asfali, can you fucking take this stupid prick and ban him, please? If he talks about women in this way in any way, shape, or form. First of all, you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, so you're born a loser.
I don't think he's on Facebook.
It doesn't. He is on Facebook. Why do you keep saying? Just because you can't see him doesn't mean he's on Facebook. He's on Facebook.
Okay.
So, mods, please ban this douchebag. Thank you. You really don't need to be talking about Kimberly Guilfoyle's vagina or whoever you're talking about. And you're making accusations that certain people weren't in the Middle East and didn't. You have no idea what Leroy, myself, or any other veteran has done. And you need to add a little bit more hair tonic, dude. Are you freaking kidding me? Seriously, do you have a gold chain? Or just show me your gold chain. We got to show this picture. We got to show a picture of this guy. Yeah, dude. Your hair reeks of Axe body spray and falafel. I just wanted to tell you that. I can smell it from here. If we ever want to solve the oil and energy crisis, we can always go ahead and sieve off your hair. Just a thought.
A very big company, much bigger than they understand. In fact, when they finally got my taxes, they said, whoa. They took them years to get the taxes. They got them. That was the last you ever heard. You never heard one thing about them. But it took them years to get them because they shouldn't be looking at my taxes. I was surprised the Supreme Court gave them the right. They shouldn't be looking at people. That's sort of another one of the tenets. You don't do that. But I didn't care that much. I just, on principle, I fought them. And they looked. I built a great company. When you do the things that I do, and you employ thousands and thousands of people over the years, just thousands. We've done a great job.
I love how he's like, please forgive me. Ban. And Amy got him. He's like, please forgive me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Oh, shit. I just got banned. Listen, that's what I'm talking about. You're not a troll. So see, there's a difference between a troll, somebody who disagrees with you, and someone who is purposely trying to disrespect people to get a reaction. I have no, see, that's the thing. If you want to have an intellectual conversation, we can do that. If you want to get down and knuckle drag, we can do that. And honestly, Trump's a lot the same way. And that's what I do love about him, is that he never escalates unless somebody else does. Right? He's being very respectful for Tucker. If Tucker asks a tough question, which I don't imagine he will, I believe that Donald Trump elevates and he's garbage in, garbage out. I am very much the same way. If you want to have a great conversation, we can do that. If you want to be disrespectful and get down and you know, have a bunch of purple-headed yogurt slinger bruises on our forehead and slap each other, fine, we can do that too. It doesn't matter. I'll get down in the dregs with anyone. The point is that when you start insulting women or start using racial epitaphs, you need to go. You need to go, because what you're going to do is get my users banned. And I'm trying to save them from themselves. Someone got a strike because they replied to a troll. I don't want the people in here who are trying to just gaslight people. You want to gaslight somebody, call the phone number. Gaslight me. Let's see what you can do. Man up.
Years, just thousands. We've done a great job. And then I ran for president. People were surprised that I won, but I used to see these rallies, and I'll tell you, the rallies are bigger now. The enthusiasm is more now than I've ever seen.
So what do you think, since your poll numbers have risen consistently since they raided this place, Mar-a-Lago?
Well, before they raided
in August,
they were going up substantially before.
Well, they
but
definitely moved.
Since then, they've really been going up.
So, how do you think that your opponents will respond?
I don't know how well. We have two opponents. We have a primary opponent. We have a general election opponent.
I mean the Democratic Party using the legal system.
Well, what they're doing is they're finding, and think of this, they say 11 million pages, but whatever it is, through all of these Democrats' investigations. I had the Mueller hoax. I had impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2.
Alex, I see that you're new to the show. Alex Potty is on here. He's wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. I just wanted to say I apologize for the first round exit in 2023.
Ukraine, Russia.
I love you, buddy. It's not, I'm a hockey fan. If you look behind me, you can see Avi's behind me on the license plate. Yeah. So all the love in the world, man. It's been 10,837 days since Canada won a Stanley Cup. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, just with all the love in my heart.
This guy's a comedian, but you remember that whole period of time.
Trump said I was a comedian.
It turned out to be a total fake. But think of this, I tell this story very seldom, but because it's a sad story. So the Russia hoax was made up by crooked Hillary Clinton, Adam Schiff, the DNC, the Democrat Party. The dossier is a total fake thing. We're suing them now, as you know, on that. We're suing them a lot because, unfortunately, Bill Barr didn't have the courage to do what he should have done. He was so afraid of being impeached. So I have to do it civilly. I have to sue people. The Justice Department should have done, because these are criminals. But think of this. So you have all of these millions and millions of pages, and they get you on a non-disclosure agreement? I mean, big numbers, billions and billions of dollars, right? And they get you on a perfect.
John Grady says, your ass going to jail. Well, is any other part of him going to go to jail, or is it just his ass? Can he take his hair with him? He's going to remove his ass and take it to jail? First of all, what's he going to go to jail for? Can you explain this to me? The 34 felonies that are all the exact same charge? Is that what you're talking about? That it was based upon a misdemeanor that is past? That's what you're telling me. He's going to go to jail for a clerical mistake that he didn't even input into a book, or an intentional mistake that he didn't input into the books. You're going to have to prove intent. You understand that? You have to prove 34 counts of intent to make that felony stick. You're serious? This is what you think he's going to go to jail for? You think a president of the United States is going to go for the equivalent of a parking ticket? That's what you think? Yeah. I think your ass is where your head's at.
Also, one of the indictments is the leaked tape with Billy Bush from E, the recorded where he said, grab him by the
pussy.
Yeah, an indictment on that I mean, what did he do wrong? I mean,
he paid off, supposedly he paid off the production company not to release that, supposedly. But see, here's the thing, is that it doesn't matter, because it's not a crime to pay hush money. Because if it is a crime to pay hush money, then every single politician is going to jail, because there is a slush fund for the House and the Senate that pays off mistresses and people who've had illicit affairs from being sued civilly. Do you know that? And it's taxpayer money. I'm sure you didn't know about that, because that would require you to be impartial and listen to both sides. Donald Trump's not going to jail for this. He's going to get a fine, if anything. It's probably going to be thrown out. So you can pretend that you guys have been trying to get this guy for 7 years. You have went up his colon so much, he doesn't have an ass left. It's basically his neck and then the back of his thighs. His ass is gone. You have been up it for 7 years and you found nothing. Remember his income tax records? How'd you guys do with that? What did you find again? Nothing? Oh, sorry. You guys wanted those for how long? You subpoenaed those for how long? He has got you all literally by the testicles, and he's just leading you around. You want his tax records? He's like, nope, not going to get them. Oh, there's the secret. There's the smoking gun. Listen, if you would just let Donald Trump bury himself and let his own sound bites hang him, it would do more damage than what you're trying to do. All you're doing is building his credibility, because he's right. He was right about the dirty dossier. He was right about the tapes. He was right about Russian collusion. He was right about Stormy Daniels. He was right about the creepy porn lawyer, Michael Avenatti. He was right about Afghanistan. He was right about doing tariffs on China. He was right about steel dumping. He was right about going ahead and recognizing independence in Jerusalem from Israel. He was right about Iran and pallets full of cash. He was right about the Paris Quota deal. He was right about USMCA and abandoning NAFTA. Tell me what he's been wrong about. You said he didn't spy in his office. They did. He said there were FBI plants. There were. He said that the Hunter Biden story was freaking ghosted. It was. He's been saying that tech has been freaking shadow banning all of us and all conservative. They are. He's so wrong because he's so right. He's right so often, it's almost come full circle that he's wrong. What do you mean his ass is going to jail? I don't think you understand how government works. Because if you're expecting the people who break the law and are corrupt to hold each other accountable, welcome. I got a bridge, and it's beautiful. And it's in Brooklyn. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's for sale. Would you like to buy it? Talk about falling off the turnip truck and then getting rolled over by it a couple of times and getting brain damage. What the hell are you talking about? He's going to jail. He's not going to jail. No politician's going to jail. Hillary Clinton's not going to jail. Bill Clinton's not going to jail. Obama's not going to jail. Biden's not going to jail. Hunter's not going to jail. Donald Trump's not going to jail, because they are the jail. They're the elite. We go to jail, not them. If I did what Hillary Clinton did in intelligence, I would still be in Leavenworth, and I've been out for 25 years. What country are you from where you think politicians are going to hold each other accountable? Please. I bet you think that men are women and women are men. What a joke. Get a life. I hate when people say that. Sorry, I didn't mean to say get a life. That was rude. Get a clue. That's better.
On a perfect non-disclosure agreement where they get you in nothing. A friend of mine who's a big business guy said, you have to be the most honest guy in the world, because with all of those numbers that you have and those big numbers, they don't have anything. And you have to see, take a look at the people I just mentioned. Look, read what they said. There was no crime. In fact, a lot of people are saying he indicted somebody. There's no crime. That's illegal to do. You know what he did. So I don't see it going. I mean, we'll have to see.
So, but just to bottom line it, the purpose of this is to keep.
I can't play the show tonight. I got to keep going. I mean, we've got people are obviously loving it. We got 425 people. We have 100 on Rumble now.
Let me look.
It's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, 104.
104 on Rumble. So we got 500 people on. They obviously love this. I'm going to keep doing it. We'll play the whole thing. Stay here for your entertainment. Go get yourself a Pop-Tart and a Bud Light. And some Tampax, because I guess Dylan Mulvaney's doing that too. By the way, if any of the listeners who are offended need a tampon and some Midol, I've got it right here for you. I took it from my wife's stash. because us men need to stick together and we all menstruate. So here you go. Whenever you're ready, whenever your vagina hurts, you can just pop one of these in and eat one of these. Or is it pop one of these in and eat one of these, right? Not eat one of these and pop one of these in, right? I don't know how it works. You guys just trial and error. There's enough. Just use the right end. Rudy Trevino. What's up with the Trevinos? I mean, did the whole Trevino family show up here? He goes, "You going down, Tucker. You will soon be behind bars." For what? Why? Wait, why is Tucker going to jail? What did he do? What did he do? Is this about Dominion? Well, that's a civil suit. He's not going to jail for anything. What did he do? Why do you want Tucker in jail? Because he released tapes? Is it because the shaman got released? Did somebody squeeze the shaman? Is that what happened? Remember that commercial? Don't squeeze the shaman. Is that what happened? Why is Tucker going to jail? What did he do except annoy you? What did he do except go ahead and report what he knew as accurately as possible? Do I love Tucker Carlson? No. I think he's an instigator in a lot of ways. I think he's condescending to his listeners. Okay? But so can I. I think he brings on bait and switch. He brings on people that he can take on and destroy. But he also faces some extremely intelligent people and also puts them to bed too. I like Tucker Carlson as a human being. Go watch the fishing video where he's fishing in New York in Central Park. And he's fly fishing and somebody approaches him and starts recording him. And look at his demeanor. I will tell you, if it was a Democrat, the Democrat would have called private security or told that person to F off or insult them in a certain way or threaten them. Tucker Carlson had a conversation, obviously was a little intimidated and a little worried, but he had a conversation. I don't need to see what Tucker Carlson is like when millions are watching. I want to see what Tucker Carlson is like when nobody's watching. And I had a chance to see that. That's all I need to know about him. Go to jail. What? Because your feelings are butthurt? Your vagina has some sand in it? Please. Call in and tell me why.
You out of the presidential race.
If I weren't running, or if I had bad poll numbers, let's say.
Right.
And again, remember, the Democrats are the party of disinformation. If they want you to run, if they want to run against somebody, they're going to go the opposite. For instance, they don't want to run against me. And now, I just gave you a poll. I'm 9 points up on Biden. But they're the party of disinformation. So what they say is, oh, we want to run against Trump. Now, they always do that. You know, they do that. And other people would do it, but they do it pretty much better than others.
Is there anything they could throw at you legally that would convince you to drop out of the race? If you get convicted in this case in New York,
no, I'd never drop out. No, I'd never drop. It's not my thing. I wouldn't do it.
No, I'd never drop out, he said, bottom lining it for us. Donald Trump spent 4 years in office taking what was...
I just got a bill from somebody from PayPal that's charging me $400 for Norton, demanding me to pay it. I love these people. That's great. I'm going to pay it, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it down as fraud. So you have, you not only will be hit by the local police department, but the FCC, and fraudulent billing across state lines. So it'll be a RICO case. Well, that'll be fun. People are morons. You'll hear about this in the paper. Guy who sends out Norton security virus through PayPal took $1.5 million from senior citizens, is in jail for the rest of his life. You'll see that shortly on the news. And I'll be like, I got an email from that guy.
Of a meeting with Chinese President.
All right, let's forward through the commercials. We're not going through any content. I can't put my pillow on here because I don't get paid for it. Or 18747 Steel.
Into Syria while he was having chocolate cake.
The moronic neocons currently in charge. It was remarkable. Let's send all our ammo to Ukraine. Zelensky's like Churchill. Okay.
John Grady's using potty mouth. He says, F you and Trump. Together? Like, you want to sleep, like, you want to have sex with us together? Me, Trump, and you? I don't know, man. Let me see what you look like. Hold on. Liv, what do you think? Can we throw him in the middle?
I need to see a picture first.
No, he's a DJ. Never mind. Yeah, he doesn't make any money. Never mind. Forget it. I'm good. He's a scrub. We don't. No, man. You're like a backup dancer. You don't make any money. Forget about it.
Trump disagrees.
Donald Trump and I say no. We're just going to have our gay love affair together. You are not invited, sir. Just Trump and I.
Disagrees with that. And some of the stories he told us from his time as president were amazing. Trump and Chairman Xi having chocolate cake at Mar-a-Lago. That's the setup. Here's the payoff.
I told China, if you buy any oil from Iran, President Xi, very good conversations. I liked him a lot. I told him we shot 57 missiles into Syria while...
Libra, yeah, I put in some words last night. I put in Nazi and fascist, and but the N word should be in there. If it's not immediately killing it, that's a good one to add because it shouldn't be in there. And I don't leave it past Democrats to go back to their roots and start using the N word.
Into Syria while he was having chocolate cake. It's the only time he said, repeat. That was the only word I've ever heard him say in English, meaning he speaks English, okay? You know?
He speaks English?
Well, I'll tell you what. This is an interesting thing. We're having dinner at Mar-a-Lago, and he wanted to be at Mar-a-Lago. And we had a great weekend. But we're having dessert now.
Sorry, folks. Got to keep it up. Got to troll. John Grady says, you are an idiot, you and Trump. I thought you wanted to have sex with us. Now you're insulting us? I don't understand. You're sending mixed signals. Listen, we're going to have to break up. It's not you, it's me. It's gotten a little too complicated. I think our relationship's going a little too fast, John. And I need to pull away. Okay? I need to pull out. I'm pulling out to win. Okay? It's not you. I promise. I'll call you. When I'm ready, I will call you. Okay? We're going to miss you terribly.
Tell me stories about China. The history of China is very amazing. It's got an amazing 5,000 years, amazing history. And
my wife comes in with a complete, people are just having a casual conversation about Trump or Toronto, and she comes in and sticks a puck and a wooden shaft of a stick right through your hearts. Bummer about trading for O'Reilly, and then he's out for the rest of the season. My God, woman.
Well, I wanted O'Reilly back. I loved him on our team, and I was really, really, really bummed when he got traded.
Sounds like you're pretty bitter. You're going after.
I'm not bummed. I'm.
Why don't you just go ahead? Why don't you go ahead and make fun of him about Matt Sundin versus Peter Forsberg?
I'm making fun of the Leafs because they traded away so much to get him, thinking that he's going to be their golden boy with Austin Matthews to get them to the second round.
Yeah,
and he got injured in the second game he played.
I know, with a finger.
That's what I'm laughing.
Well, the funny thing is, he got a hat trick in his first game, and then he's out for the rest of the freaking year. And it's like, oh, dude, this just shows you what he could have done for you guys. Oh well, too bad.
Exactly.
And President Obama didn't go over the red line, and because of that, Russia took over Syria, and there's a whole big thing, right? You know that. If Obama would have done what he said he was going to do, because they were killing children. They were killing children with gas bombs, by the hundreds, by the thousands in Syria.
Hey, John Grady, your is YOU''RE, just FYI, just English. It's what's for dinner. And remember, you're calling people idiots when you can't even discern the difference between your and you are. I just want to make sure, dude, I wouldn't sleep with you. Actually, no, I wouldn't. Sorry, we're done.
And he said, if that happens again, and it happened a number of times, and he still never went over the line. But I did. So I shot 57 missiles, almost every one of them hit, into a military area, which had a lot of planes, wiped out a lot of planes, also had...
Okay, so let's get to it. Sorry, folks, listen, we're fine. Stanley James Benner, 3 names. A guy with 3 names, really? Go figure, it's a guy with 3 names. Why don't you hyphenate? Did you take your wife's last name, bro? He says fomenting. Fomenting? It's a good word.
Fomenting?
It's a good word. And we lost his comment. Fomenting and leading leading insurrection. Leading insurrection? He was there? He was leading the insurrection. Which position did he enter? Which door did he enter from? How come it went on for 2 hours before he was done with his address? No? Leading the insurrection? No, I'm sorry. That's wrong. It's false statement. But you used a 10-cent word to go ahead and say something that wasn't true. Let's go to your next one. Let's see. Stealing Stealing? Stealing? Who's accusing him of stealing classified documents and hiding classified? How did he hide classified documents when they were at Mar-a-Lago in a closet and the FBI knew about it? Explain that to me. Did you even read the inventory report of the classified documents? You know, you guys say there's thousands of them, although it was photographs and newspaper clippings, and there were only 18 TSI documents, and half of those were folders. Did you even read the inventory report? No, because you don't watch my show. It's interesting how much you don't know about what you think you know. 571-329-7576. Call my show. Let's talk face to face. Let's not do it by text. Let's not have a romance over chat. Let's do it verbally. Let's hear each other's voices. Maybe Grady will call. 571-329-7576. Tell me all about Trump. Tell me everything you know. Tell me all the juicy details about what you think he did and what you think he didn't do. And I will give you an honest account of the shit that he's done that he needs to be held accountable for. And it's not paying off Stormy Daniels. He needs to be investigated through and through for Georgia. Absolutely, 100%. It needs to be investigated. But what they're going to find is that the phone call, they're going to have to prove intent based on a call. And they have precedent with Hillary Clinton. He can use that defense. Oh, I didn't mean to. And from what I'm hearing and everything that I've heard, the call wasn't go find 15,000 votes and get them turned. It was, you're got to be kidding me. There's got to be 15,000 votes out there that weren't counted, or there's a polling station where something was missed. I need you to find that. I need you to do a recount. We got to win this because this is being taken from me. That is a lot different than a direct order of go find me 15,000 votes no matter what it takes. You're not going to get them on that, but it should be investigated to make sure. I'm with you. So instead of you focusing on the things that he needs to be held accountable for, or the things that he's said that are wrong, what you want to do is make shit up. It's interesting. It's typical.
Also had Russian soldiers, by the way. You know, they say I was so nice to Russia, right? I killed the pipeline. I sadly killed a lot of Russian soldiers, that 500 group, because they were doing things that they weren't supposed to. Nobody writes that, and I don't want them to write it. I'm not proud of it, but we did that, as you know. But we shot approximately 57 missiles in. So when I dealt with President Xi, I was with him the whole weekend. He had an incredible, I'm not allowed to say it because it's very impolite and very politically incorrect, a beautiful female interpreter. She was very beautiful. Today, if you say it, they'll say, this is terrible. You're not allowed to say that. But she was very professional. She spoke every word for him. Very professional. Had another couple of them too, but she was there, and we're having dinner. And he would come in and say hello. She would say hello. He wouldn't say any word. But I said to him, a general came up and said, do we do it now? I said, yeah, you have to do it now. So I gave the order during dinner. Then I said, well, do I tell him? Because they're very closely associated with Syria. Do I tell him now, or do I wait till he finds out after dinner? Because you have about 28 minutes before they hit. So I said, President, we've just fired approximately 57 missiles into Syria, into a base. The missiles are on their way right now. He looked at me and goes, repeat. That's the only time he's ever said it. So I think he speaks English. The only word, he never said hello or goodbye. He only dealt through an interpreter. The only word I ever heard him say was repeat. That's an unusual word. I said,
how smart is he? Could you tell?
Top of the line.
Top of the line.
Yeah, they're all top of the line. Our guy's not top of the line. Never was. These are top of the line people.
So, John, why do you think I'm a Klan member? Can you let me know why? Is it because you're black and I'm white? Is that your myopic thinking? Aren't you the one who's wearing a white T-shirt and wearing white pants? You look more like a Klan member than I do. I actually look closer to Eazy-E and Ice Cube than you do. You seen the cover of Straight Outta Compton? I remember it well. Do you? You look more like a Klan member than I do, man. So explain to me, what's your point? What? Why don't you call in? You're a DJ. You're used to not saying anything and spinning records and performing in people who don't give a shit who you are, just that you play sick beats. You should be comfortable with coming on and handling some white clucker. Come on, you can handle me. Remember, I just burn crosses in front of my yard. So let me ask you a question. Why do you think that? And don't you consider that to be racist? Can you imagine if I said you were a Black Panther or a BLM rioter or Antifa? I don't think that about you. I think you're a DJ who finds that you aren't fulfilled in life and you thought music was going to propel your career and you would do something more effective than playing at weddings and bar mitzvahs, and you're taking it out on me. And I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry your life isn't going the way you want it to, but that has nothing to do with me or my whiteness. So if you want to go ahead and put something other than anecdotal evidence that I'm in the Klan, please come and tell me why you think that. Have the courage, or at least the wherewithal to stand by your convictions and your petulant temper tantrums of taking it out on me because you didn't know your dad and you're not happy with your life. That's not my fault. Don't blame me for your choices. Fair enough? It won't be, because you're going to just say something else and just be completely stupid, and eventually you are going to get banned. You're going to get banned because what you're saying isn't true.
DJ Diddles.
What's that?
Somebody called him DJ Diddles.
DJ Diddles.
His name's John, right?
Yeah, his name's John Grady.
John, so quick question for you. If I'm not mistaken, people who are in the Klan hate all races except white.
Right.
Correct?
That's what they say.
Well, I'm Mexican, so Matt very well cannot be in the Klan.
Wait a second. You're fucking Mexican? When the hell did this happen? Nobody told me you were Mexican. I thought you were Italian. You're Mexican? Go get a rope. Seriously, hold on a second. Hold on, please. Hold on a second. Bubba, Eugene, yeah. Get the cross, get the gasoline, get my size 8 number 12s. Yeah, I want my sheets. Get the 1,000 count, please. Thanks, Huge. My wife's a Mexican. No shit, she just told me she's from Puerto Rico. She's from Puerto Rico. Oh, Hayden, your mama's a Mexican. No, you don't know that. Nobody knew that. Oh my God, this is it. This is a disgrace. I have to leave the Ku Klux Klan now. She's a Mexican. Somebody accused your dad of being a Klan member. I can't believe it. What? They said I'm a Klan member. Hey, what nationality is your boyfriend?
Exactly. He's Guatemalan, if I'm not mistaken.
Eugene,
correct?
I got a guy who's made like coffee. He's Guatemalan. That's right. Yeah. He's dark roast. You better get 2 crosses and get some more. You better bring some more gasoline. We got to get that guy roast. Too. I'm taking care of this. This is ridiculous. Damn right he's from Colombia. He's Mexican. All right. Thanks, bro. You really make me feel a whole bunch better about myself. Thank you for outing that my wife's Mexican. We're going to take care of that at my next Klan rally.
She is a brilliant man. If you went all over Hollywood to look for somebody to play the role of President Xi, you couldn't find it. There's nobody like that. The look, the brain, the whole thing. We had a great relationship. You know, when he first came to Mar-a-Lago, he came the first day. He was there for a few days. We were going to have a 50. It was so organized by them and by us, but by them. Very boom, boom, boom. Everything's like business, no games.
Listen, I'm a lot funnier than Trump, okay? You've heard this before. Why do all you guys come on here and go, stop it, Donald Trump's saying this for the 747th time. I need to listen intently. We've heard this before, okay? I got to the good stuff because it's a talk show, that's why. And I'm not your cable provider. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, right, I'm going to add commentary and I'm going to pick on the trolls because it's fun and it's entertaining.
Chris Morris just said, tell Olivia to go make you a taco chicken pot pie.
Love you. a taco chicken
pot pie.
Go make me a pollo pato chalupo, please.
Chalupo.
Where are my curly hair? They don't say, gee, how did the Yankees do last night? Oh, that was a wonderful. They don't care. They don't care about anything. I said, do you ever go to a Broadway play? I'll take you to one. Do you ever have plays like, do you ever go, no, I don't, no. This is business. These aren't game players, right? I like it. You know, in a way I like it. You have no life, but that's what he likes.
Yeah.
Top of the line smart, top of the line. When they came in, it was supposed to be a meeting that lasted exactly 15 minutes. Then we go to breakout sessions with, they had like 40 people. We had 40 people. You know, the comparables, right? And we're sitting across the table from each other in the ballroom of Mar-a-Lago. And it was an amazing scene. But our meeting was supposed to take 15 minutes. It took 4 hours. We got along so well. There was a great chemistry we had. Great. We talked about everything. A great chemistry. But people ask me, how smart is she? I said, top of the line. You never met anybody smarter. How smart is Kim Jong-un? Top of the line. You know, people say, oh, this and that. Really smart. You know, when you come out and as a young man at 24, 23, even though he sort of inherits it, most people, when they inherit, they lose it.
All right, I'm banning him.
And that's easy stuff.
Wait,
He
why?
took over a country of very smart people.
And don't say the
Very,
word.
very-
He didn't say it. It's what he said to a viewer.
Where is he? What?
So, Don-
No, what's his name?
John Grady.
Okay, hold on. Let me look at this. Hold on. Don't
he
stop. You're gonna get us banned. Stop it. Stop it. Don't say it. You can't say it. If you say it,
He didn't call anyone.
will you
a
just stop?
name. Yes.
Thank you. All right. So it's Grady. All right. Let's see. John Grady. Let's see what he said. Oh, he got banned. Well, you guys already banned him. So it's what did he? Okay. Now you need to tell me and paraphrase what he said because I really wanted to know.
Dante Perez says, I'm Black, Latino, Caribbean, and I love your program. Caribbean, excuse me, sorry.
What
I
did
love
you
your
just say?
program.
What did you say?
Caribbean.
Yeah, you're Mexican.
Yeah. And I love your program. Ignore that DJ. He's still living in the plantation. And he put back, I live with your mother. And I just thought that was rude.
Well,
So somebody else banned him, though.
that's pretty rude. Yeah, there's no reason for racism. I own that
Exactly.
guy without being racist. You don't see, and your comment was really good up until that point. You know, and that's see, I hate to defend this guy, this John Grady guy, but racism's bullshit. It's not acceptable to me. If it was in person, I would do the same thing. But bro, you can't do that. It's just like the guy who said he was Jewish and came on with an iron cross, a swastika. He got banned. Which makes no sense. And he's a Nazi. I don't tolerate that stuff. So what's funny is John Grady's been trolling all night and starting crap with everybody. And you made one comment that was stupid. There's no reason to be racist. You can insult John Grady because he's stupid. It has nothing to do because he's black. He's just an idiot. And you can say that all you want. And you still have the high ground. But the moment you start talking about his mom and the color of his skin, you're just as going as low as him. And I'm not here to tell you how to be. You can be any way you want. I'm just telling you that's never going to win, because then you're actually qualifying and quantifying what they're saying about us. You know what I'm saying? And you know the only thing his mom did was probably love him and take care of him, and he's a huge fucking disappointment. You know, she's probably at parties and her girlfriends come up and they're having chicken tacos, and she's like, "Hey, like how's John doing, sweetie?" And she's like, "Oh, he's a fucking DJ still. He has a pacifier in his mouth and he walks around like a complete moron." Well, what do you mean a moron? Well, he wears white pants and a white t-shirt. He looks like a Klan member. And all he does every time we go, "John, are you hungry?" And he goes, I can't get a word out of him. He's a freaking idiot. No reason to make fun of the color of his skin. I mean, seriously, come on.
Very tough
House beats.
people at a very young age, and he has total dominance.
Okay, now you can ban John. Get him, Amy.
Or
That's the third time he said I'm in the
Kristen.
Klan.
Kristen.
The guy has no, Kristen, your first ban. You get John Grady. You get the DJ who nobody wants on their wedding. Have fun.
Done.
Have fun on your next bar mitzvah, Bubba.
Good job, Kristen.
Good job, Kristen. Congratulations on your virginity is over. You have popped your first ban. Congratulations, my moderators, doing a great job. Let's finish Donald Trump here, folks.
Control. That's not easy. These are very smart. Putin, very smart. Now he's had, and probably a bad year. Don't forget that whole thing is not. If he took over all of Ukraine, and what are we going to do? Because Biden is so committed to Ukraine. What happens if it's a not winnable war? You know, there are people that say Ukraine cannot win, can't beat Russia. Russia right now, I'm not saying anything out of school. I read it in one of our newspapers, so, you know, it's probably fake news, but maybe not. I don't think it is. Russia right now is making massive amounts of ammunition. Sounds simple, right? But they're making massive, beyond anything they've ever made before. We don't have any ammunition. We've given it to Ukraine. We're not prepared to fight. I rebuilt our military, new planes, new tanks, new everything. They've taken the military that I've rebuilt, and they've given it all to Ukraine. I mean, massive amounts.
So who blew up Europe's biggest natural gas pipeline?
Oh, I can't wait for this. That's going to be a good question. We got to hold on for that. Don't leave, because that's going to be a good one. That's a good question, because I want to hear what Trump has to say about that for sure. That's going to be interesting. And then we'll have an after show, and then we're going to cut loose. Go watch the hockey game. Are we recording, Libby?
Yeah, I went out there and did it.
Thanks, babe.
For fast muscle relief, TheraWorks works.
And this
Where
is how
is
I
it?
found his.
Where'd it go?
50 plus gourmet flavors that you'll flip out over. Have 50 plus.
Start now by going to balance.
Thought he might know. Here he is. Who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline?
I don't want to get our country in trouble, so I won't answer it. But I can tell you who it wasn't, was Russia. How about when they blamed Russia? You know, they said Russia blew up their own pipeline. You got a kick out of that one, too. It wasn't Russia.
Pretty diplomatic answer for a man who's supposed to be crazy. We're going to play the full clip for you tomorrow night. That's it for us here in hurricane season in Palm Beach.
That's a real interesting thing. You know, people have gone back and forth, and I have said, you know, how I feel about it. I feel Russia probably did it themselves, but there's a lot of people who believe that the United States did it and blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. It's possible. Listen, I've never said it wasn't. It just seems highly improbable to me. But this wouldn't be the first time that I've been wrong in my life. But that's interesting. That's to have Trump go up there and say that is really interesting. But he does say things that are pro-Putin, and he has in the past. This isn't anything new. He has no reason to dislike Putin, because Putin never did anything really on his watch, minus supposedly the bounty for U.S. soldiers. That's not been confirmed. There's so much innuendo here. And obviously Syria and a few other pushing of buttons, but nothing like Putin has done to Trump or Putin has done to Biden. I mean, with Biden, it's been just blatant disrespect. So it's interesting. What did you think of it, Liv? What were your thoughts of the entire thing?
What I heard of it, he sounded good. I mean, I was up and down with the kids and out of the room, so I didn't get the whole interview. Mm-hmm. But he seemed, to be honest, normal. He wasn't like, the thing I've noticed is he's not doing the deep breathing, mm-hmm. and he's not repeating himself. Mm-hmm. That was the big one with me. He always repeated himself, and that drove me nuts.
Yeah, and one thing, Mary O'Grady says, it was threatened by Joe, then it happened, and it's proven who blew it up. No, it's not proven. You have an obscure author who offered no evidence whatsoever. He made various claims. I've already done that show. There is absolutely 100% no decision made here on who did or who did not blow it up. There's speculation and there's conjecture on both sides that Russia blew it up or it could have been the United States. No, that's not true. You can say you think that and you feel that, but you don't have any proof of that. There's no exculpatory evidence of that, or it would be laid at the United States doorstep. And we will uncover who did it. We will. And we'll find out who did it. But the story that was released on how it was done with non-U.S. Navy SEALs and they trained a bunch of mercs in 6 months, please. And a remote P-3 Orion flew over and triggered an underwater detonating device when you don't need to use a P3 or a sonar buoy to do that, because one, that would blink off on every single SONAS net across the Atlantic and the Med and the Black Sea and anywhere else, letting you know that a sonar buoy is in the water. There's certain things you do and don't do. We don't know. There's a lot of speculation, and I could see it either way, honestly, and we're going to find out. But for people to say that, it's guaranteed it's not Putin. Why? Why do you believe it wouldn't be Putin? I made a pretty damn good case why it would be Putin. But I've also heard the reasons of why it would be the United States. And I wouldn't put it past us, honestly. I really wouldn't. But if you're basing it off of a Wall Street Journal story, I would ask you to stop, slow down, do a little research, and come back to that. That's just, I'm not coming down on you. I'm just telling you what I think. Matt, I sent you something on Trump's uncle, John, and Tesla documents. Okay, I'll look at it. Yeah, I'm a little sad that John and I won't have that relationship with Donald Trump and I. I was looking forward to that, I wanted to sing Secret Lovers, Secret Lovers. That's what we are. No? Okay. Whoa. F. Joe Biden. Trump is the best. I'm a Trump supporter. I'll always stand with Trump. I like this firm of Trump. I do. I enjoy who he is when he's like this. I have not been a huge fan over the last 2 years because I think he has gotten himself in a very narcissistic loop about caring about Trump. And this is good. He's talking about the world stage. He's talking about foreign policy. He's talking about Americans. He's talking about the economy. These are the things he needs to be talking about. This is what got him elected in 2016 and ultimately will give him a chance in 2024. I want to hear who his running mate is. And I think that's the most important decision he can make. And it needs to be a female. And it absolutely cannot be Marjorie Taylor Greene. It cannot. If he wants to sink every single chance that he has of being president, put MTG on your ticket. The suburban housewives will steal the vote away just like they did in 2020, and he will not win. I'm just letting you know. You don't have to believe me, but you can certainly trust me that I'm right. Because you'll see. There are people, a lot of people don't like Nikki Haley, but she is very well respected as a moderate who leans conservative. She's not a rhino, because anybody who doesn't support Trump unequivocally is a rhino. I've been called a rhino, which is the dumbest thing possible. Anybody who doesn't support Trump with unfettered loyalty and bows down and sees him as the second coming of Christ is a rhino. And that's really unfair. There are plenty of rhinos out there. John McCain's one of them. You can look at McConnell. You can look at Lindsey Graham. Paul Ryan, these are rhinos. These are people who are all about uniparty. Calling Nikki Haley a rhino is ridiculous. And then in the next breath, supporting Tulsi Gabbard, which just baffles me. And baffles me. Mary O'Grady says, there is proof. No, Mary, there's not. You're not. Mary, tell me the proof. Call in 571-329-7576. Litigate your case. Tell me the proof that's come out that you've seen, and please explain to me which SEALs you talked to that did the underwater demolition, okay? Because I've talked to plenty of them. Please let me know. Please. Tell me the proof. What came out in the last 2 hours that I didn't see? And educate me on the proof that the U.S. did this. Please let me know. He doesn't seem quite as pompous these last couple of weeks. Still full of himself, just not quite as overflowing. Yeah, he seems to be getting in his stride. He repeated for people that don't know. Otherwise, he's been saying things that we need to know, love him regardless. He's repeated the same thing for 2.5 years, though, Evelyn.
I think she was replying to me when I said that he wasn't repeating himself in the interviews.
Sorry, I can't see replies. Everything is slowly coming out with Trump, Serena says. The truth is they are afraid of him, so they're trying to take Trump out, but half the people can't beg to ask themselves why and understand. AI is the new war front on psychological warfare, and not all wars are fought with weapons. Not all wars are fought with weapons. I don't know if I agree with that last part, but the rest of it, okay. I think AI has the potential to misinform people to a point where there is no doubt. I'm with Elon Musk on this. I think it can be used as a weapon. I think deep fake is terrifying. And I've seen some of these videos, and they're about 5 years off from being 100% convincing. I can see them now. I can input them into Premiere. I can put them into certain softwares, and I can see the abrupt cuts. I can see by zooming into the mouth that it's overlaid. I'm not going to be able to see those things soon. And the technology is reaching a point where they can make anyone say anything. And ultimately, the president could literally pass away, and they could put a digital prop of him up and convince us from wag the dog style that he's alive. Now, that's not going to last forever, but right now, how often do you see Joe Biden? You see him walking across the lawn with a chopper. You hear a chopper going off, and you hear his voice, but you don't have him in an intimate setting. You don't see him talking in a press conference. You literally get him goose stepping to a chopper and, what? I mean, it's crazy. Deep fakes are getting more convincing. I mean, I showed you guys the pictures of Donald Trump the other day. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I think there's an issue there.
Everyone thinks that Candace Owen needs to run with him, which she's not going to run.
Candace Owens not going to run for vice. Candace Owens is not. Folks, has anyone seen her show lately?
No.
That is not the Candace Owens we need. She's acting like she's Oprah. Candace Owens needs to be the cutthroat person she is. She needs to go after people. She's right where she needs to be. She is a strong African-American woman, which will help bring the black vote in. She's not qualified to be vice president, and she is probably single-handedly one of the most despised black women in the United States of America. Folks, you've got to stop thinking about who you like, and you got to think about who's electable. Donald Trump is already hated. Now you need to find someone who is electable. Mike Pence brought the Christian community to Donald Trump. That's why Mike Pence was picked up. Dan Quayle brought the Ivy League elitists and the pompous of business class. Okay? When you look at Al Gore, he brought the tech communities. When you look at Joe Biden, he brought the South and the southern areas of North Carolina and South Carolina for Barack Obama. They pick vice presidents that are going to give them some advantage in areas where they're not successful. Mike Pence did that for Trump. Kamala Harris gave the black vote in South Carolina and North Carolina. So it was a reversed Obama decision. Joe Biden lost that for his comments that he made. You don't vote for me and you vote for Trump, you ain't black. We got that? We got that soundbite?
Yes. I was reading comments.
I know you were. It's okay. You can read comments. That's your job. You don't vote for me, you ain't black.
I'm looking. There it
You
is.
got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
So something to think about. Go ahead and play that again, please. I'm going to fix the sound.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
But that comment almost destroyed him in the primaries. And by getting Kamala Harris on the ticket, it gave him the Carolinas and ultimately put Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders off the ticket yet again. Poor Bernie, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Okay. Mary says, that's not anything I heard, so I guess we heard two different things and we were not there. Mary, we were there. We were running operations there. It's very probable the United States could have done this. I've already said that. I didn't say they couldn't. There's no way they could. I said there's no evidence to show which way it went either way, because I can go ahead and counteract some of the things you say. You can counteract some of the things I say. There's speculation, and you may very well be right. It might have been the United States. What I'm saying is that there is no irrefutable evidence right now that the United States did this. Right now, it's speculative because there's not enough evidence to the contrary. So could the U.S. have pulled this off? Sure. Did they have reason? Yes. Did he make a threat? Uh-huh. But is there a reason for Putin to do this? Yes, absolutely. There's most assuredly a reason for Putin to blow up his own pipeline, and I've made that case. Go look it up. It's on YouTube. Putin pipeline, look it up. Ryan is coming into the show. Ryan Samuels is coming into the show. Hold on, let me get him in here. Ryan, it's going to be good to see you. What are we doing this fine Mr. Ryan Samuels? Everybody welcome. He's wearing his Don't Unfriend Me hat. Look at this.
Oh, I don't have an intro.
Yeah, look at
Ryan.
Look at this cool hat I got.
Look at that hat, dude. That thing is sexy. You bought yourself a Don't Unfriend Me hat?
I did at
nice.
thedumbshow.com.
What a nice guy, dude. What a nice guy.
What a nice guy.
So what's going on, buddy?
Can you
I
hear
know
me?
you're trying. Yeah, we can. I know you're trying to get your internet connection working, and I know it's not doing too well. But what do you want to chat about tonight?
Nothing, man. I just wanted to jump on. It's been a while. I want to congratulate you on all your viewers, man. That's killer. I was watching earlier, and I was flipping between you and Rudy Giuliani, and he had about 100 people on, and you had like I think three.
Yeah,
like
I think we hit
350. So
I think we hit 5. Well, Ben Shapiro had 430 on. I beat Ben Shapiro today again.
We had like 110 on Rumble.
Yeah, we had 110 on Rumble and almost 400 here. So we had
actually had like 14 on YouTube, which is a record.
Yeah, so we had a good almost 500, and like I said, we beat Ben Shapiro today, so that makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. So, no, I wanted to come on because I know we were talking about nukes earlier, and yeah, so I got a unique knowledge of that when with my military service, as you know.
Yeah, tell me.
So you saw Putin transfer nukes into Belarus, right? The tactical nukes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's doing that to kind of tell like as a message to the USA, like back off, through
Sure.
mutually assured destruction.
Mhm.
But no, it's a scary thing. We're as close to it as we've been since the Cold War. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely since the Cuban Missile Crisis, for sure.
Yeah. But no, I liked what you said earlier about the Space Force, and that's why Trump was doing it, because that's where the nuclear wars are going to be fought. Is in
That's
space.
correct. Yeah. It's interesting, man. I think Putin is doing whatever he can. I mean, Ukraine is getting pummeled, and we knew it was a matter of time. I mean, Russia may not be ultimately effective at winning quick wars, but they are cold-hearted warriors, and their military is battle-proven. And his is like Novocaine. It's the Russian tactic. Throw everything you can at the wall until the wall breaks. And that's what Russia has done. So something interesting. I've never taken your take on this. Joseph Hassa has just made a comment, and I haven't seen Joseph here in a while. So Joseph, good to see you back, bud. He says, Tulsi Gabbard, it's where I'd be leaning. 8 years, Army Chemical Corps. It wouldn't be a bad thing to have a yin-yang scenario. I also believe that she may be better for our military. I've got an opinion on this. I don't know if you know my opinion on this, but Ryan, I'd like to get your opinion on Tulsi Gabbard and see where we line up. And there's just a little video that I have that I may want to share with you all real quick. It's only about 5 minutes about Tulsi Gabbard, but go ahead, Ryan, tell me what you think.
Tulsi Gabbard is a liberal, right? So here's the thing. If you're saying you want her to run with Trump to pick up some of the moderates or some are maybe the pro-abortion votes or things like that, you would be correct. But if you want her to run to help the conservative cause, she wouldn't really help that much. That would be my opinion on that.
I agree with you. I wish I wish
women to their nth degree.
I wish I didn't, but we're going to share this real quick, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this too, if you don't mind, Ryan, because I covet your opinion, and it means a great deal to me. So let's watch this. This is 5 minutes. It shouldn't take too long, and then we can all have a quick conversation about Tulsi Gabbard and what we think and don't think. Olivia, I want your opinion too, as a woman. I'm sorry, as a non-conforming binary person, would like you to go ahead and share your opinion. Is that fair?
I'm a woman.
Okay, thank you. Have you met my wife, Ryan?
Yeah, we've spoke through here. So,
okay.
Hey, Olivia, how are you? Glad to see you on the show. I love it.
Thanks. We need to see a picture of the baby.
Oh yeah, we need to see a picture of the baby. And she dude, we're up like 150% since she's been on. So obviously my ass isn't doing it. It's her.
It might have been that bra she threw at you one night.
Well, I think that's probably true. Quick Tulsi Gabbard video. I want you guys to watch this because this is important to me. I like her, but here's my thoughts and tell me what you think.
What is going on, Don't Unfriendly Nation? If we want to simplify men and women to their nth degree, to the simplest form, it always comes down to this. Guys, procreate. We want to spread our seed. Women want to have kids. That's pretty much what it comes down to. You can argue all you want. That's what we're here to do on Earth. The best example I have from this is with Tulsi Gabbard. Hear me out. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? Guys love Tulsi Gabbard. She's a veteran. She's a good-looking woman. She's easy to look at. She's smart. All of the things that we look for in a person. But if she was a Democrat, and I mean truly a Democrat, like AOC annoying or Nancy Pelosi, guys would despise her through and through. Women would be the same way, depending upon their political disposition. But here, now that we have supposedly an independent and she flirts with the Republican Party, somehow guys love her and women don't seem to support her that much. Why is it? Well, because women can sometimes see things that guys can't because of what the aforementioned, that men are always looking for a mate or a possibility, and women kind of are suspect and are territorial and protective of their guys. Natural instincts, right? Tulsi Gabbard, although looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, she isn't. She is 100% a progressive. She's been a progressive her whole life, even through the military. If you don't believe me, you can actually go on Politico and look up her 2020 strategy when she ran for president. She was always a Democrat, and now most recently, she's been kind of parting the lines by having some very divisive ideas from the Democratic Party that's helped her be embraced by Republicans, but she's still an independent, she says. I promise you this, everyone always talks about what a rhino is. This is a perfect example. She's like John McCain. When the push comes to shove, she will always vote with the Democrats. Look at Manchin. When push comes to shove, will always vote with the Democrats and what's in the best interest for him through the Democratic filter. Let's take a look at her policies. Capital punishment. She wants to abolish it. Hands down. No death penalty. Cash bail reform. She wants to end it. And this is one of the biggest progressive things that she believes in. Mandatory minimum sentencing. She wants to reform it and eliminate mandatory sentencing. Another progressive viewpoint. Election security. She wants paper ballots. Everyone knows what paper ballots cause. Minimum wage. She wants to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. They've got that. And now she proposes $20 an hour. How about reparations? She wants to study it. It's what Joe Biden said about reparations. I want to study it. And now look at California pushing reparations. She believes the cost of college should be absolutely free for everybody, and cancel debt. Doesn't make much sense. Doesn't sound like a Republican. How about nuclear power? She supports closing down existing nuclear power plants, no matter what that would do to the state's energy situation or the country's energy situation, and also not build any new ones, no matter what. How about what they call assault weapons? So essentially semi-automatic weapons. She believes in a full ban of semi-automatic weapons. Look at background checks. She wants to expand universal background checks. Even though there's already 20,000 laws on the Second Amendment being proposed, more laws aren't going to solve the problem. Take a look at abortion. She believes few limits in abortion, if any at all. Doesn't sound like a conservative to me. Drug costs. She believes that importation and patent breaking should take place. So if somebody creates something and spends millions upon millions of dollars in research in order to make a life-saving medicine, that company doesn't allow to be patented, and they can't patent that medicine. Now, I'm all for breaking up the pharmaceutical monopoly and the unbelievable high cost for medication in the United States today, but you still have to allow businesses to protect their interest. Take a look for Medicare for all. She believes in Medicare for all, and if not for all, she still believes in Medicare for some. What about DACA? She believes in dreamers, and she believes in citizenship for all illegal immigrants, and there should be a pathway to citizenship for all the illegal immigrants inside the United States today. Legalize marijuana, even though we've seen studies that it actually is not good for states. We see this in Colorado. Housing prices have gone up, property has gone up, crime has gone up. She wants to legalize marijuana. Last but not least, defense spending. She wants to cut the defense budget. Tulsi Gabbard is great to look at. She's got a very put-together attitude, but her policies are toxic. She's progressive, and she is not a viable option for vice president. When we're looking for somebody, even though you may not like her very much because she challenged Donald Trump from time to time, there are some very good candidates, including Nikki Haley, who would fill the gap, still be a conservative, isn't a rhino, and isn't a wolf in sheep's clothing. Folks, thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. You can come back tonight at 8 o'clock. We're going to be live. And I'll have a recorded show for you too.
All right. So Ryan, here's the question. And now we got a feeling on Tulsi Gabbard, but obviously progressive. What are your thoughts on this new, not new, but it seems like there's this insurgency, like there's a new push and new blood that's going to be taken on by Gen Z to come after the Second Amendment. And I don't know if you've been paying attention on Twitter and Facebook, but like David Hogg and this new kid, Harry, whatever his face is. I mean, there is a very large proponent of Gen Z, the 7,000 in Tennessee, who are coming after guns and parroting that guns are the issue. And if there was any question if they were socialists or not, this pretty much addresses it, because rule number one in socialism is confiscate weapons and then apply everything else you want because people aren't armed. What are your thoughts on this? And do you think this is going to keep gaining traction like it is?
Well, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up about socialism. You know, in the Marine Corps as an infantryman, one of the first things we do when we invade a country and we establish a stranglehold is we ban all their weapons because we don't want any competition.
Correct.
Right? We don't want anybody fighting us back for basically whatever the hell we want to do is essentially the purpose of that. Is Gen Z gaining ground? I don't think so. You know, we saw this under Obama. We saw the same thing with millennials, and it was the big millennial gun ban push. There's a saying that says, if you're a liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. And if you're a liberal when you're old, you don't have a brain. Is that how it goes? Something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. So, you know, the older you get, the more mature you get, the more established you get in your career, the more you realize you want the government the hell out of your life. Right. Now, we do have obviously the big, massive cities with the majority of the population, with obviously the highest gun crimes, with the strictest gun laws.
Correct.
You know, there was a book written years ago called More Guns, Less Crime, and it breaks down all the mathematical statistics as it pertains to guns. So when criminals look at something, they look at a hard target and they look at a soft target. This was actually one of the things that, I'm not going to say her name, but the trans shooter at the Christian school, she had looked at another target, but had decided not to go there and shoot it up because there were armed guards there. So therefore, it's what we call a hard target. This Christian school was a soft target. So that's what she decided to attack. Now, guns are always going to be there. They're never going to go away. You could ban guns tomorrow. You could ban every gun. You can't have any of them. What are you going to do? There's millions and millions of them out there. They're there. They're here to stay. We've banned fentanyl. We've banned cocaine. We've banned heroin, and you can get it on just about every street corner in the country. Just because you ban it does not mean that it goes away.
Right. Right. I think all very good points. You know, and I think the one argument that people need to have is necessity for the Second Amendment. And there's definitely a necessity for some people. And I think it's an argument we don't do enough of. And Leroy makes a good point. He says, listen, I don't think the states are going to get a 3/4 majority. Now, they don't need a 3/4 majority. That's to overturn. But you see, you know what they do? They do. Because if you're going to, you would have to repeal the Second Amendment in order to ban guns, because the SCOTUS is going to shoot it down. So you would need a 3/4 majority. So 75% of the states would have to go ahead and do a convention of states to remove the Second Amendment. But what you can do is you can tie it up and constantly pass legislation to put a stranglehold on this until it's seen by the Supreme Court, because the backlog on the court is ridiculous. They go to district court, from district court, they go to state, from state, they go to federal. And it takes forever, a couple of years. Look at Obamacare. It took 3.5 years to get any action on that. So you've got to show the requirement of why people need guns. And sport isn't going to do it. Hunting isn't going to do it. But protection on the farmlands and in the rural areas is where these states can stand pat. And you can at least get 15 states to say, we're farmers, we are rural areas, we have bears, we have coyotes, we have wolves. We have to go ahead and defend ourselves on our farmland and our livestock in order to go ahead and do this. And we need guns to make this happen. We can't just what do you want to do? Put electric shock collars on wolves? No. You want to put electric fence up? Who's going to pay for that? So you've got to go ahead and prove a necessity for weapons. And then there's another argument that, listen, a weapon makes people equal. And if the Democrats are cheering for equality and truly want equality, there's nothing that makes a person more equal than a firearm against somebody who's 280 and 6'6" when you're a woman. And I think there's some things that we can make arguments about. But the last thing I'll tell you is, I don't know if you had a chance to watch the episode, Ryan, but there's an episode that I did that we need to stop using the Second Amendment as our scapegoat because that's what they did with the 14th Amendment with Roe v. Wade. And that's what they always do, is the Democrats focus myopically on one thing. We need to focus on the Bill of Rights. And the Bill of Rights was not designed to restrict the people. It was to restrict the government. And why would the Founding Fathers give us 9 of the most amazing freedom endowments of freedom for the individual, to protect the individual rights, and then go ahead and hand over the most important thing that protects those rights to a state-run militia? It makes no sense. It would be completely antithetical for the Founding Fathers to do that. Nobody makes that argument, Ryan. And I've had a lot of 2A and 2A supporters come up and say, dude, Matt, I've never heard that. I've never heard anyone say what you just said. And it completely destroys the militia argument.
Well, yeah. And, you know, the Second Amendment is to protect the rest of the amendments. You know, so the Bill of Rights doesn't grant you rights. It doesn't grant citizens rights. Yes, it restricts the government from impeding on those because you've had those. Every human being has had those. So if you look at the wording of the First Amendment, it says the freedom of speech, you know, the freedom of the press. It doesn't say we're granting it to you. It's recognizing that it exists, that it predated the Constitution, that it predated the Founding Fathers, that these are endowed by your creator. So your creator could be a god, a deity, or it could be just by your humanity, that you have these certain sets of rights. And the Second Amendment is the last line of defense against those rights. It's the last defense against tyranny.
Correct. It's pretty simple to me. Listen, somebody said Carrie Lake for vice president. Okay. Listen, Carrie Lake can't even win governor. Okay. She's Donald Trump in a dress. Folks, do you understand what's needed for Donald Trump to get elected? Do you understand the insurmountable steps that he has to make to get elected? Here's what he has to do. He has to somehow get the United States to forget January 6th, which the press are never going to let that happen. He's got to make them forget what he said on the steps about COVID and trivializing people who had COVID and were dying by coming up and be like, I beat it in 3 days. It ain't no big deal. And grandmothers and mothers are dying. And women said, screw you, pal. He is going to have to get through the indictments. And then after all of that, and all the lawsuits are going to go all the way up until Election Day, he's got an October surprise coming of epic proportions that we don't know about because it always happens. And then you've got to get through a 37 to 41% approval rate nationally. The only way you do that is for Donald Trump to focus on the policies, to sell what he did between 2016 and 2020, and sell what he plans to do from 2024 to 2028, and have a female by his side.
Somebody said Judge Janine.
It's not Janine's not. She's polarizing. I love Janine. Nobody's going to take Judge Janine. She should have been Attorney General, for God's sakes. That's what I would have loved to see instead of Barr. Give Janine or give it to Ted Cruz. But folks, this person
Napolitano.
Napolitano hated Trump, though. He never would have done it. Napolitano hated
He almost
Trump.
got appointed to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I know. Napolitano's a genius.
Yeah.
I just think his Trump derangement syndrome's a little bit much. I know I've been saying Nikki Haley for so long, but there's a reason why I keep saying that. She was an ambassador to the UN, and the vice president's job truly is to be the front man for the president and represent the president across overseas. That is the VP's job, through and through. And Nikki Haley has amazing connections, and she can stand up to world leaders, and she brings in the female vote, and she's a minority. It increases the Republicans' base. It gives them a reason to vote for Donald Trump, which normally they wouldn't. And honestly, it will make people feel secure by saying if something does happen to Donald Trump, Nikki Haley would be an optimal second place person to run. But when I ask people, why don't you like Nikki Haley? Nobody can ever tell me. Ryan, do you have an opinion on her?
So I've been kind of following. I think the major thing is the election, and that it's election. I'm not going to say the word so you don't get flagged, but it's election F, right? It's so I think they correlate that with Trump, and the previous one. So I think that has a lot to do with it, right? That they're associating the two of those. Oh, you're a sore loser. You can't admit you lost. Whatever. You're the same person. They're just immediately dismissing it because they're tying all those negative feelings together. That's kind of how I am right now.
Right.
I follow her on Twitter, so I kind of watch, and I guess there was some. She's posting every day about it, and there was something really interesting that just came out about the printers. Did you hear about this?
Tell me.
In Maricopa County. So during the election, the ballots.
Are you talking about Carrie Lake?
Paper.
Are you talking about Carrie Lake? Yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No,
well,
tell
it
the
just
listeners.
came out in court.
We were talking about Nikki. We were talking about Nikki Haley. So you're talking about Carrie Lake.
Sorry.
So no, stop it. Don't worry about it. Tell me about Carrie Lake. Go ahead.
Carrie, same words.
Sure. There was a K in it. So what about Carrie Lake?
There's the letters in the.
Do you like Carrie Lake? Do you see her possibly running on a ticket with Trump, and do you foresee that being a possibility?
It's hard to say. It's really early. I mean, I think anything's up for grabs at this moment. I know you really want a woman to run, but I really want Ron DeSantis to run.
Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump are not going to. Come on, can you imagine that ticket? Can you fucking imagine the infighting between them two?
It would be amazing.
Yeah, it's not going to, dude. Nobody wants two Trumps on the ticket. I've been in politics.
Trump.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's a mellow Trump. Sure, he is. Dude, he went after Disneyland. He sent migrants to Martha's Vineyard. That's a Trump move. I mean, I don't know, dude. He went after Disneyland. It's fucking amazing. Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah, he went after Disney, but
he went after Disney, and he lost, and he's going back again.
Yeah, he's not going to stop. I mean, they have complete anonymity in Disney World. I mean, they have their own government there, and their corporate taxes are special.
That's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
Someone said Ben Carson. I think Ben Carson's a choice. I don't know if that necessarily expands the black vote. Listen, Republicans need diversity. And if you want to beat the Democrats at their own game, take away the diversity card. Make Kamala Harris absolutely a non-issue. Two people just said they don't trust Nikki Haley. Why? Tell me why. You can't tell me why. Tell me why you don't trust Nikki Haley. Oh, there's something about her. What is it? You say that about DeSantis. You said he's Soros funded. No, he's not. Just because Soros came out and endorsed him, Soros is playing head games. Are you kidding me? Why do you trust Soros at all? Tell me why you don't like Nikki Haley. But anyway, maybe that's a conversation for another time. Judge Jeanine, I like Judge Jeanine. I just don't know if what about Winsome Sears? There's so many people we can figure out. Olivia, give us your 1 minute so we can go watch the hockey game. What do you got for us? Thanks for hanging by there.
No problem. As far as Nikki Haley, I don't know enough about her. And I don't know enough about anyone who is running. And I said it before that I'm not going to say who I'm voting for until it gets closer because I don't know who is running. So Trump does not have my vote yet. He's got to earn it back. I don't know enough about Nikki Haley. I know nothing about Tulsi Gabbard or Carrie Lake. So I really honestly don't have an opinion until I do some research.
Well, I think it's early, right? And that's fine. I want to thank you because I appreciate you handling the trolls tonight. That was fun. Ryan, you got a minute, man. I love having you on. I love your shirt, Defy Tyrants. Tell everyone where they can find you, where they can go. Ryan runs an amazing show. If you haven't seen the Ryan Samuel show, he is literally in the sticks. I mean, he is in the middle of Area 51, and he gets no internet connection because the government has he has copper wiring and foil all over the place. So they can't scramble his signal. Ryan, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook at The Ryan Samuel Show, Twitter, The Ryan Samuel Show, Rumble, The Ryan Samuel Show, and YouTube, but I don't really use it. I think I have like 180 people on there.
I'm the same way on YouTube. I'm like, I hope they ban me tonight.
Yeah, it's like I don't even care because they just strike you for even when you don't say anything.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah. But
anything else? What time are you on? Are you doing recorded shows? You going live or what are we doing?
So I'm doing recorded shows. Elon Musk has got me my Starlink soon. So it says it's coming in 2023 and I got that alert in January. So
have you ever thought about,
8 months
dude,
left?
He answers a lot of people, dude. Have you ever thought about tagging him and just say,
every time he posts something, I respond and say, hey man, I need Starlink. So he just hasn't seen me yet, but my Twitter has blown up. I'm about to hit 10,000 followers now. So
yeah, how much are you putting in advertising?
Not much.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, not much. I've just been responding to a lot of people, like Gavin Newsom. I'm always blowing him up, and I'm getting followers from it. But really, nothing compared to what I had to put into Facebook. I mean, I did that in like probably 2 weeks. Facebook, it took me probably 3 months to get 10,000 followers. So
yeah, I've been doing $2 a day on Twitter and haven't went up. I just am like, just a little bit, just get some, and it's, it's growing. I don't put a lot of time into it, but I do enjoy it. I like trolling people. Well, folks, listen, I appreciate you. Go see Ryan Samuel. He's an amazing human being. You can find him on Facebook at Ryan Samuels, right? At Ryan Samuels Show. Is that correct?
Yeah. The Ryan Samuels Show on Rumble, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of those. So
yeah, podcast is blowing up, by the way. That's doing really well. We just hit 156,000 downloads on the podcast, and we're sitting pretty good, close to 1,000 on the. No, that's in the last quarter.
Okay,
that's still pretty good.
That's still solid.
Dude, it's really solid.
You got to be top 5%.
It's top 5% video. It's top 10% on the entire Spotify channel, and it's top 5% in podcasts. So it's growing. It's gaining traction. So it's doing pretty well. And so things are going well, man. I want to keep growing the live show, and I ultimately just want to keep doing that. So tonight was a great night. It was fun doing that, and we'll continue to do it. And we love having you on, dude. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful night, man. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Night, Ryan.
All right, brother. Good night.
Good night, my brother. See ya. All right, folks, that's it for the Don't Unfriend Me show tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. It is Wednesday night. Livia will be here, same bat time, same bat channel.
Si, senor.
Si, senor. I love it when
Sure.
Don't do it. Don't be a whore. Seriously. Every time she talks in a Boston accent, that's like our bedroom thing.
I can say like 2 words.
She goes, sure. And I'm just like, let's go to the bedroom. I don't know what it is about that, but Boston accents and chicks is just freaking awesome. And she can't say anything else except sure.
And whore.
And whore. She's like, sure, treat me like a whore. And I'm like, oh, that's it. It's all over. It's all, I'll get the hockey stick and the KY. So, all right, folks, listen, thanks so much. I cannot believe we still have 300 some odd people on, 200 on Facebook. We got
72 still on Rumble.
So we're sitting at 2. Listen, folks, it's with all my heart. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for coming. It's on the nights that we don't have Donald Trump or Tucker Carlson. It's been hard, but it's so good to have you guys on. And I know I'm intense. I know I come hard, but I truly appreciate you. We've worked really hard to make this happen. Still Point, April 22nd in Jonesboro, Georgia at Furnace 41. If you have not heard Still Point, they do our music. They do our intro song. Everyone loves it. It's an amazing song. Go see those amazing guys. They have been with us since the beginning. They do all of our theme music. And if you haven't seen Still Point, STIIL, not STILL, STIILPOINT, go to iTunes and listen to Still Point, download some of their music. And last but not least, behind me, there's a very cool wooden flag. And this wooden flag is from pfcflags.com. It is awesome. They're all made in the United States. They are custom made. Look at that frame. It is a beautiful flag. And Jason and Katie work out of their garage. They're a local company made in the USA. They are out of Virginia, and they are good friends of the show. Please go take a look, pfcflags.com. I built the website. He builds the flags. Go take a look. God bless. Thank you. We will see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And go watch the recorded show. It's below this one on Facebook. It's on Rumble. It's on Twitter. And give it a like and a share. Please, if you have an account, this is how you get the word out. By hitting like, by hitting share, hitting follow. That is going to get the word out, and we are going to continue to grow. The fact that we had 500 people on is freaking awesome. God bless. I will see you tomorrow. And I am Audi 5000. Olivia, say goodbye.
Night, y'all.
Listen to this message. Veteran Crisis Hotline. God bless. Good night.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important. You are important.
For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call